boy. It's that Friday feeling. You feel that? It's that Friday feeling.
Let me just get ready for winter quickly.
Look at these things.
Thanks to General Catalyst, the
GC.
legends, we look at. Indeed. They've seriously cooked with these.
This is a General Catalyst
It's a collab.
Sunday School limited edition fleece.
Oh, we look it lucky.
And also, I'm not sure, could we get a close-up maybe, if possible, of the T-shirt as well? Not only do we have a limited edition Sunday School X General Catalyst fleece, we also have a General Catalyst T-shirt.
Got a nice close-up
My
going.
camera will be coming on right now so you guys can see this.
There we go.
So here is the T-shirt.
Your mic's in the way. Oh, there you go. Lovely.
Free the logo. And then also, cap,
Nice
as you
cap.
can see.
Also
What's the side piece
on
there?
the breast piece on the fleece as well. Just have a quick
Well, let's do a
quick
full
look.
rundown
Whoa,
real
whoa,
quick.
go on the fleece. Go on the fleece. There's a breast piece on the fleece as well.
I see. Yeah.
Limited edition GC. Look at that. Zoom that in. Whoa.
Yeah, but then also,
What's the next thing?
the label. It's beautiful. Sunday School, designed with
Made in heaven.
General Catalyst, made in heaven. So, a huge thank you to the team at GC. They also sent a lovely card. Thank you very much for the card. It's nice to know that you guys are cheering us on.
We
from the
appreciate your
sidelines.
support. We appreciate everyone's support. It's very nice. Is that the
Flying in
support
with
siren?
that's the support package coming in from General Catalyst. So
Let's go.
huge shout to the team over there.
Yeah.
Not sure how long we'll be able to wear them on the show.
I feel
just
pretty
'cause they
comfortable right
are
now. I'm feeling good.
They are,
they're breathable,
quite warm.
a little bit, but they're also
very
very, very
flexible
warm.
as well. Like
Yeah,
a
yeah.
lot of movement, a lot of mobility in
I'm
these
gonna
things.
be wearing this for a lot of my winter.
Well, winter is coming.
We're ready to go.
We're now. This is the first piece of
Valerian
winter
waterproof
merch.
jackets. When it's
Oh,
just
of
cold
course,
and no rain, this is what I'll be wearing.
Yes.
This is it.
Yeah. Well, maybe we could do the Valerian Barber limited edition jacket
GC collab.
over
Yeah,
the
nice.
General Catalyst X Sunday School winter fleece,
I could do that.
paired with potentially the General Catalyst cap. We need some shoes and jeans.
Well, we know who has shoes.
Clay, no way. Varun, you have to. man.
Varun, send us
Varun,
shoes.
Public call out to Varun. Please send us the Clay shoes. And then
We have to complete the fit.
we need trousers.
Gotta be done.
We need trousers.
I don't know who does trousers.
Like
maybe.
a nice jean would be good.
Yeah.
I know Early Bird commented on the
Early
General
Bird do a
Catalyst
jean.
post.
Do they do a nice jean?
They might do for us if we ask politely.
Yeah.
If we ask, as politely as we possibly can.
Indeed.
But we do need pants. So if anyone's watching this and they're thinking they wanna get in the game, a public request for some trousers.
For
please.
sure.
No chinos though for me. So okay, I would love a jean.
No, beggars can't be choosers. Look, I'm happy with everything.
I'm a
we
beggar.
are
I'm a-
incredibly
I'm a-
lucky that we get to, have these things that we're considered important enough to be able to be gifted things like this. We heard there was some internal fights about who was going to get these, and apparently we did. We don't even work.
Well, everyone's looking for one. After the post, we've got Lucas, the goat, the robotics goat. He's
Yeah.
added Lewis.
He was like, "Yo, give me these."
How I get one?
I
he
think
says.
Is it against like the rules for a VC to sell merch? Can they do that?
VCs can sell merch.
They can do whatever they like. I assume,
I don't
right?
think they need to sell much, but they can sell much. Marlene over at Caliber says winter is coming.
Indeed.
Melting smiley face.
Yeah.
And now we are prepared. Sammy Taylor.
I've never been more
The
excited
OG.
for winter.
Sammy says these go hard.
They do go hard.
And
Correct.
I said they're very up Sammy Street. This is a very much a Sammy garment. Ryan Codre, ex-Convergence gang, now at Anthropic. Damn, I want one. But then Elishiva Marcus, VP of Comms at Early Bird, the ongoing merch is commendable. So I'm not sure if there's something
Was
going
that a
on
bit
here.
was that a bit of a tease?
I should have replied ... jeans? Question mark from Early Bird potentially. But a lot
Just
of
put a jeans emoji.
Yuri says, Ronan, it's August. I think, why are we... Oh, no, okay, I thought that was, why are you guys working? But I think it's more, hey, it's August.
Take
Why
the
are you wearing
fleece
the
off.
Fleeces?
Well,
It is quite warm.
you can never be too prepared. And look at us go. We are prepared. We're almost 2 months prepared.
We just like to be ahead of the game.
We want to be ahead of the game. We create the consensus on this show. We're working during August. Even our US friends, TBPN, are holidaying at the moment, and we're not. We're locked in the studio, giving you the news that you need. Should we talk about it?
I want to talk about the Airworks agenda.
Let's pull it up.
Let's get that big boy up on the old screen there. Archie Hall coming into the studio for his first appearance ever. He's at The Economist, economics editor. He recently put a piece out around why Britain would be foolish to get rid of Palantir. So it's going to be a big NHS Palantir debate with him. Very much looking forward to it. Obviously, we've already had Louis Mosley on the show initially when they were going back and forth. That was very much surrounded around
more political.
Zach Polanski tweet where Zach bravely headed to the timeline to announce that Peter Thiel was the CEO of Palantir. Thanks to the community notes and the work that Nikita Beer and co have been doing, he was quickly proven wrong. That actually, he's the chairman. He's the chairman of Palantir, and Alex Karp is the CEO. And Lewis Mosley, to be quite frank, ratioed the hell out of him.
He took it on the chin, to be fair.
With his post, took it on the chin, just fought right back. We love to see a bit of drama.
Anyway, Archie Hall calling in 1:15.
It's going to be cool. He's got a hard stop because he's got a bunch of meetings to get to after that. He's calling in from NYC. Paul Bonnet back again. It is the big Bonnet boy coming back. General partner at 20VC. Always good to chill with Paul. He is going to break down a tweet he did recently around Anthropic and OpenAI's revenue. There's a lot of discourse on the timeline.
Such a good tweet.
Seems that his data suggests that OpenAI is sitting a lot more pretty than people think.
Well, I mean, that's a consensus from all the tweets, right? It's like I think the discourse is suggesting, hey, there's actually like a ton of evidence to suggest OpenAI are chilling, whereas Trad Media are trying to change that narrative or at least hide it.
Well,
so it's an interesting one.
I do want to discuss that actually further because I have a point that I'd love to get your thoughts on and general take.
General catalyst.
Finish up.
Love to see it.
A lot of general stuff going down. Ed Leon Klinger, the man himself, the OG, the original gangster is coming onto the show. Co-founder, CEO at Flock. He's just sold Flock to Admirable. They had a great partnership set up.
£80 million acquisition. Launched in June.
He's working now at Admiral as what's his role? Is it some sort of senior executive position? He's staying on the mothership with them for a few years. And
he now sits on Admiral's Pioneers leadership team.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, but they folded it in to the Admiral Group. But yeah, no, he's created a very cool business.
Big win, been grinding it out.
And also he's a beast
since he was a little one, and he's doing great work. Then we've got Philip Johnston coming on, co-founder and CEO at Starcloud for his second appearance on the show. We're going to be talking everything from rockets to orbital data centers to NVIDIA chips. It's going to be a great.
Getting ever closer to that 10,000 year, goal that he said. His timeline, his 10,000 year timeline.
What was that called again? The Dyson Sphere.
Yes,
Dyson Sphere.
that is the plan. We thought it was going to be 50 to 100 years. Turns out it's 10,000 years away. So
he actually recently said in a tweet that timeline is getting shorter.
Okay, interesting.
So maybe we can.
So they're converging. On that. Interesting.
Anyway, that is the lineup. Stellar.
That is the lineup.
Absolutely stellar.
And this is Airwallex. Levi did a business banking behind with Airwallex, the all-in-one financial platform built for the pace of modern business. Multi-currency accounts, corporate cards, expense management, online payments, all in one platform. Go to airwallex.com. Legends of the game, as we always say.
We don't have news on this right now.
I'm feeling super snug right now,
really?
I have to say.
Really?
I'm feeling good. I
I'm
actually think I could
warm.
do the whole show in this.
Really?
Yeah, maybe they've put some like internal AC mechanism in this
Very
jacket
anti-European if they did.
I love it.
Can't see an AC unit in here.
You could probably fit one in. They're big enough.
Massive pockets. Jeez Louise. No, I'm feeling good as well. It's probably that Friday feeling, actually. I was saying this morning, I woke up. I had a dream last night that
I have a dream.
I'd already woken up. My dream was I woke up and went to work and just worked the full day. and then went home and went back to bed. That was my dream.
So
And so when I woke up, when I actually woke up, I thought it was Saturday.
Maybe this 5 days a week is kind of getting to you, pal.
Well, the days blur.
They really do.
The days
I mean,
completely
we say
blur.
on the show, hey, like we were talking about this, we were talking about said subject, and then we're like, was that like yesterday or was that like 3 days ago?
It always feels like a week ago, but everyone's like, yeah, it was like a day ago.
That was a day ago.
Because I remember when we first did our first week of 5 days a week.
I turned around to you.
Yeah, we were
We
doing
were
a
the
late
only
night
one.
session.
We were burning the late night candle, as they say.
It was late night session, and then we were obviously very stressed, and there was a lot of work. It was in a great way, it's a what a pleasure it is to be burdened by stress for a life we would have dreamed of years ago.
Live
so
show.
we do not forget that. But Luke turned to me and he was like, time feels like it's going really slow. After we just had to do like loads of stressful work, which is quite funny.
It's only a Friday.
Sorry, we got sidetracked. Where were we? Oh, yeah, I wanted to just mention about Paul's tweet and the breakdown of this consolidation of revenue on the OpenAI and Anthropic side.
Please.
So initially there was a post from one of the lead economists at Ramp, looking at their Ramp AI index data that they have. And they do great work pushing this out there. It's really interesting. It's novel information. Only Ramp have it. But it's taken from all of the customers that work with Ramp. So they can look at like what are people spending their money on. They'll drop reports around what companies are growing the fastest by business spend, like where are most of the dollars that are spent on Ramp, what software products are they flowing into. So like some really cool insights.
Sure.
And they posted a chart by chart comparison on quarter enterprise growth rates. And in those growth rates, it showed that OpenAI was actually growing faster than Anthropic quarter on quarter in the most recent one for enterprise growth rates. I thought that was really interesting because it's a complete and utter narrative violation. Then when we dug a bit deeper,
that's what's most surprising is the narrative violation. This is like textbook narrative violation.
Yes, but it was taken. Obviously, that is only from companies that work on Ramp, so that is not a reflection of the full rollout.
True.
Firstly, secondly, and we can get into this because there's a banger tweets that I want to pull up around this later.
Yeah, there is.
It's just there's a hilarious reply to this, but
A banger.
the growth. Okay, gotta work on that. There's a really great.
Until it's Friday.
There's a really great, interesting narrative around the fact that, like, yes, enterprise growth may be increasing more than Anthropic for OpenAI compared to Anthropic. But I do think that, like, regardless of that growth, is there here an area in which where, like, I think overall that Anthropic has been the more expensive model out of the two. Is there a world in which, like, yes, okay, more companies are potentially moving to OpenAI for their enterprise workflows, but they're spending less. Like, the revenue isn't getting there because Anthropic are being used on, like, insanely, like, intense tasks from, like, very boutique specific stuff. Like
I think that's the thing, right?
Colossus.
They can't get to where they've contracted to get to in terms of revenues with just a general population. They need the enterprise side. And yeah, I agree. We looked at the chart yesterday about the surge in growth on users. So, it shot from, as soon as they released ChatGPT Work, shot from, I think it was 6 million users to 20 in a matter of weeks. And, that will be heavy integration within the enterprise. What does that mean for, the kind of market share within the enterprise? We don't know. But yeah, we're 100% like, I think the pressure on OpenAI isn't necessarily, let me rephrase. The pressure on OpenAI is the fact that they've contracted with companies like an NVIDIA for multi-year contracts to say, hey, we're going to go and buy, a certain amount of compute. This is where we're at. That's all been priced into the market. You're kind of, screwed in that sense if you aren't able to pay for that. And they can't do that with just the consumer side, which I think it's still at the moment they own.
But that's an interesting threat, right? Because they have all these commitments on these spend. I mean, OpenAI.
And I think it's the second order effects as well for an Amazon or a, like an AMD or I think the biggest contracts they signed were with CoreWeave and NVIDIA. And like, they are both priced into the stock price. Like that's, you know,
Yeah. If they were
Which
to
is-
fault on those,
I don't know what
premiums,
happens.
Then
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
a huge revenue loss.
Armageddon.
But it'd be interesting to see. We'd have to get someone on maybe to discuss this in a bit more depth. But
Well, that's why we're getting Paul on, right? Is to kind of like understand, you know, what happens if that does happen. I don't know. You know, we're talking. He talked mostly as like Anthropic is still likely adding more absolute ARR on a monthly basis than OpenAI, but the gap has nearly closed.
Yeah.
So like, what does that like actually mean?
but yeah, and I want to dig into like how worried should they be at that end, because now enterprises are kind of looking around, like we spoke to Colossum, right? Exactly what they do. They'll just point whatever company needs, or like OpenRoutes, for example, they'll just point the user in terms of whatever is the most efficient model by cost and capability for that particular task.
Yeah.
Is that a threat to OpenAI's or Anthropic's enterprise revenue? Probably.
Oh yeah, like definitely.
And this is making me feel like the economics is starting to really not make sense.
Well, if we're moving towards this, like only yesterday did we start to go really deep onto like this heterogeneous future of models, where, you know, I think, and I can't exactly remember, but
Great word, by the way.
Thank you. I think that you've got like hundreds of models will be used, if not thousands. Like it's going to be an ecosystem. It's not going to be, you know, there won't even be like a select few in terms of a select maybe 15 models. Like obviously like it was the two models, OpenAI and Anthropic. Now you're seeing like this, you know, kind of widespread, and everything will go horizontal, and whatever certain task you need it you need a model to do, there will be a specific model that does that.
Almost like a pre-seed model, seed model, SMB model, mid-market model,
Yeah.
enterprise model.
But then go. It's like a tree. Then go down into in the seed stage. What do you actually need in that seed stage? What exactly thing? You know, what there's levels
like
to the game.
Task-based model.
Task-based model.
Yeah,
Exactly.
interesting.
So you're looking at like multi-hundreds, if not thousands of different models, all doing different things. And a company like OpenRouter is obviously perfectly poised, or a Colossum is perfectly poised to be able to take advantage of that kind of market swing into, hey, big models aren't the only thing that are going to be used. The performance is always going to get to a position where there will just be a bunch of models that you won't even know. I think it's more what's most interesting is one, the routing. I think that's a huge kind of market to go over, to go for, which is obviously why Colossum have gone from raising 10 to 100 mil, and you can see that same with the premium price of OpenRouter, like 7x more than it was in February.
Yeah.
But then you've also got the application layer of like, how do you actually interact with the models? So I think like an OpenAI or ChatGPT or a Claude like has kind of owned that of like, if I need to go and ask a question, or if I'm going to go and generate a research report or whatever it is, I can go, that's where I go. So maybe if they integrate and maybe don't use their specific models, but they're able to integrate and kind of route all of the other models, but they're just like the main interface that people interact with. I think obviously there's a moat there. Like if you can win I don't want to always pull it back to like brand, but if you can win that and win the, hey, I'm going to go ask an LLM a question and go and prompt something, where do I go? Do I go to Claude? Do I go to ChatGPT? Do I go to Gemini? I don't know, but like, it doesn't mean if I go to Claude, I'm going to be only using Anthropic models. I think one might have to bend the knee, and I think it will get to a point where when they're public, obviously they're going to have to be they're going to be audited. They're going to have to be kind of way more open in terms of revenues. I think if they want their stock to go up, they can't really be taking big swings like buying a shitload of compute. Excuse me for the language.
Whoa, buddy. No swearing on the show.
But buying a boatload of compute.
Profanity alert.
But not being able to have the demand that meets the supply that you've just bought. I just don't think they can do that.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to say, hey, we're going to open it up to a bunch of models and just use a routing, like an open router.
Well, so Gabe over at Harvey just, they released their own model that they trained, Harvey. And it was, there's a graph that we can maybe pull up later, but like this is starting to be, people are thinking, hey, maybe it's just better if I do it myself. Speaking of doing it yourself, Let me tell you about Valerian. Valerian lets your organizations deploy AI. You control your data, your agents, your keys. Stop renting your intelligence. Own it. Go to Valerian.com. Let's get up the first news part of the day. We're going to be digging into the Palantir article.
First of the Economist. The Economist.
The Economist. The Economist.
What's wrong with me?
Uh-oh.
The Economist. First article from them on the show.
Britain would be bonkers to ditch Palantir, says Archie over at The Economist. Whatever the company's flaws, its critics have taken a worryingly liberal turn. Making database management seems transgressive. Oof, I am also getting a bit of word diarrhea.
I said, let him cook!
Palantir, a technology firm, has managed it by publishing manifestos bemoaning the West's hollowed-out civic culture, by working with trigger-happy American border enforcers and Israeli soldiers, and by having a chairman who is fond of invoking the Antichrist. That the firm is named after J.R.R. Tolkien's creepy all-seeing orbs may not have helped. I will disagree. I think the name is absolutely brilliant. I love the name. And also anything that's related to Lord of the Rings. Britain is spooked. It may boot Palantir out of the National Health Service, where the firm has a contract to manage medical data. We saw Burnham mention that if he was to be elected, the first thing he would be to rip out Palantir from the NHS. We're also seeing a lot of pushback in my hometown, in Manchester, in the 0161. They are very anti-Palantir, and they're very anti- seeing the NHS sort of work together, or any sort of partnership or structure around the, in quotation marks, big, scary US firm coming into quite an understandably sort of sensitive area of data. Two parliamentary committees have recommended doing so. London's Mayor, Sir Sadiq Khan, has blocked its work with the Met Police. Palantir has probably oversold software's impact, it boasts, echoed by the NHS, of enabling 110,000 extra surgeries that look apparently exaggerated. By British standards, its lobbying is brash. I think anything by Britain's standards, the lobbying would be brash if we're talking about American companies, to be fair. Still, ditching Palantir would be a mistake, writes Archie. Sir Mark Rowley, head of the Met, says that without Palantir's time-saving software, hundreds of officers will be pulled from frontline policing. It seems to be doing a better job of digitising the NHS than the government's latest effort, which devolved into a costly mess. And I like this point in particular. If it's taking us like 20 years and multiple billions and billions and billions of pounds to build like another train line that no one even asked for, or even to get the sort of backing of even using an already built airstrip to land and take off planes on. It's already built. It works. It was just to use it. I think that, you know, anything is going to look faster in that regard. If the firm's public sector clients deem its contributions valuable, that is a reason to keep it. Losing its technology could furthermore Britain's mangled state capacity. We've mentioned this before on the show. We mentioned it with Louis Mosley. This is a echo from the days of DeepMind and NHS. DeepMind being what, at the time, framed around, and this in part largely due to a lot of guerrilla marketing from OpenAI back then with Musk involved. Framed as, you know, if we just compare OpenAI, comparing it to, I'm not doing the Boris Johnson thing on purpose. If we get OpenAI and DeepMind, like the name of open for everyone, blah, 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 compared to DeepMind, which was owned by Google, scary big tech, like they had managed to. Why is that funny?
Scary.
Yeah, but it is laughable. It genuinely is laughable.
Yeah, hence why I'm laughing.
There was a brilliant job done to frame it as, why are we giving this sort of, this is our data, this is internal data, this is like secret, sensitive data of the people of Britain. Why are we letting a big tech firm come in and sort of get their dirty hands in there and rummage around? And it's like, you can understand why, from maybe someone who isn't aware of how these companies actually operate, that would be slightly concerning. Fair enough.
Sure.
But I think if people were to understand like how the technology actually works and what it's actually doing and how it's actually improving lives, then it completely eradicates the whole argument. And we're seeing the same thing echo now with Palantir. Palantir are a lot more controversial than Google. Mm-hmm. I think DeepMind eventually, like, ironically, became the evangelist of the AI era. It became more of like a AI for good with Demis at its helm. Yeah. He did a great job of as branding that with his sort of focus on biology. With AlphaFold, he was actually like helping individual people that weren't connected to AI. And Palantir, they have their own sort of marketing and they have their own positioning, and it is slightly the branding is black, and it's quite like in areas like it's quite elitist, and it's quite like in some ways like I think nicely done, the branding, but you can understand where the contrast would be.
It's done for a reason.
It's done for a reason, yeah.
Well, so it's not meant to be in, like, their whole premise is they are behind the scenes.
Yeah,
They're a data company.
Yeah, and that quite understandably can freak some people out.
Indeed.
But what one set of criticism concerns Palantir's business model, the conspiratorially minded threat that the firm could steal and sell British data. More sober types worries about lock-in, where Palantir burrows deep into the state, enscones itself, then overcharges for its services. That is obviously a traditional means of selling software, a land and expand, if you will, a land and expand and an upsell or a cross-sell. I would argue, to be fair, in certain elements like this, there would have to be guardrails around doing that in.
I think obviously the main
NHS.
worry is that they bury themselves deep into the NHS. I think it is the biggest medical data databases or data sets in the world, and so burying themselves deep into that, and then they're worried that they will, people are worried that then Palantir, by being, almost stuck within the NHS, they'll go and subsequently charge a bunch of money. And overcharge.
My initial argument to all of these things is like, is it working? Is it saving people's lives?
Yeah. Well, I think
what is the other option?
That's the main pushback from Louis, right? Where it's like, look at the data. Does the data suggest that it is? And obviously, the comment from Sir Mark Rowley, is a huge there's a huge
Positive
argument
angle.
within that argument.
But then Archie does a good job of kind of summing it up. These fears stem from a misunderstanding of what Palantir does. It licenses software and sends consultants for deployed engineers, and they kind of coined that term, to handle the data. But those data remain firmly in the hands of the clients. Lock-in is a worry, and also something all vendors desire. Again, it's a very traditional means of selling SaaS.
Mm-hmm.
It is up to the buyers to ensure that contracts are fair, and if Palantir does become indispensable, that would mean its software is keeping hospital beds free and criminals jailed. I agree. If it's working and it's saving lives, or keeping criminals jailed, happy days.
That's the main problem we have with the argument, where it's like, in practice, if they do well, that means they're going to be locked in.
Imagine
you know what I mean?
Sat on a contract negotiation with someone, you're like, oh, okay, I want to buy your HR software.
But I don't want it to work.
Cool, we're going to sell it you. It's like, but I'm really worried that if it does everything I need it to, it does a really good job, and I become reliant on it, you're going to up the prices when I use it more. It's like, yeah, that's how it works. What do you mean? Okay, so what's the alternate here? I find the whole thing, if it's working, use it.
Yeah.
If it's not,
and pay a price.
Pay a price. Pay a price. It's funny because in this, it's like the actual price is lives.
Yeah.
It's not like shareholder value. It's literally people's lives. Obviously, shareholder value is incredibly important. But it's people's lives. More misguided objections concern Palantir's politics. Parliament's Science, Innovation and Technology Committee cited a mismatch with the UK values as a reason to cut ties. It warned of Palantir's involvement in the American government's highly controversial policies and activities, and criticism by its chairman, Peter Steele, of the concept of a national health service. Peter Steele, a very controversial individual. Remember when he was asked, rumours of him being the Antichrist, but there's a very famous interview around, essentially where he kind of outs himself as an anti-speciesist, where it's, I can't remember who's interviewing him, but they ask him, paraphrasing here slightly, but is the importance of pushing the frontier of technology more important than human life in a way? And that is the argument of many species. I think Eric Schmidt also had a conversation with Elon Musk many moons ago, reference around the whole time that the DeepMind acquisition was going down, and he basically also admitted that he was also a speciesist, where the ability to make technology prevail is more important than human life to push. But the other arguments say, well, if we can embed human consciousness into maybe a humanoid robot, then that's a good step forward, and then we would like sort of forget about the human body and we would live on in the robots.
That was the argument from Elk, Ed Leon Klinger, who's going to come on the show, not to actually specifically talk about this, but he kind of pieced together Musk's life and what he's doing.
Oh yeah, that was a great tweet.
Really good tweet, and kind of at the end is like, then you've got Neuralink. He was like, there's one piece missing in the story, Neuralink. And he was saying, if you have these robotics, you have the space companies, you have a species who want to be multiplanetary, you get human consciousness. Oh no!
Throwing in the towel. I'm sorry, GC. I'm sorry, GC.
You failed, General Catalyst.
So warm,
you failed them.
It's a lovely.
To be fair,
jacket.
you can see the
It's a
GC
lovely
logo
jacket.
more.
There we go.
Someone watching the show with no context
repping more
would think,
GC.
why is this guy wearing a red and blue fleece with no
God,
connotation?
warm.
This is a General Catalyst fleece, everyone. Hence why I'm wearing
the
it.
pairing does look great, I think.
Oh man, I'm pumped with this.
Very
I think
happy
it looks
with
good.
the setup. Sorry, wait.
And then, and he's basically saying Neuralink, you can obviously like take human consciousness, put in robot brain, launch spaceship out into the atmosphere,
To the ether.
into space, and then go and figure out what you want to go and do, without humans being, necessarily in harm's way, because human consciousness is within the robot. So potential.
I'm also surprised that it's hard to like align personally with that, the notion of like a speciesist, because I like being alive, to be quite frank. Shock. But I was surprised to hear, just being at various like events and stuff, speaking with some of like the SAS leaders of Europe.
Yeah.
I was surprised at how common their alignment was with that narrative.
Of being a speciesist.
Yeah, in terms of they're not like super pro it, but they're a lot less anti it than I thought.
Well, I think
which
the
is interesting.
main question is, would
Name names,
you happily, I guess, give your life to the progression of humanity?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I donate my body to science if I was gonna die.
Already dead.
Yeah. I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah.
Ship me off, cut me up,
Yeah.
analyze me. You probably won't find anything. Anything of value. But it's an interesting thing to discuss.
Yeah.
I find it weird how it's slightly controversial, but I mean, it is, I guess, results in people dying. But anyway, back to the
Let's go to the
Economist
next
piece.
set of worries.
So we mentioned, like, obviously Peter Thiel is a highly controversial individual, one of the greatest sort of venture capital minds of all time. Everyone is entitled to their own views on state-run healthcare or Donald Trump's mass deportations. The Economist has plenty, Archie says. Still, working with the elected government of a British ally or having a chairman with thoughts on health policy should not disqualify a contractor. And that is a really interesting point that I think doesn't get brought up enough. They are a British ally. Like, regardless of whether Trump is kind of shaking those worries with his tariff sort of wars that he's deploying, or, I mean, literally today, to be fair, I think it was reported by the NL Times that the US is trying to force ASML to run a chip ban on selling, to run a ban, on selling their product
Chips in the Netherlands.
to China. Yeah, their lithography machines to China, which is, I assume, like a large source of their revenue. So it's like that could be an hour of discussion in itself. There's obviously geopolitical risks with that, and they are an ally. And our allies' enemies should probably be our enemies. So maybe there is actually truth to that agreement. But at the end of the day, the US are a UK ally. So I feel like we're tiptoeing around the fact where like we're treating them as like a non-ally, and all the phrasing is phrased around, like, if this was France, would we be having the same conversation, right? Both allies to the UK. But I think it's slightly different because it's the US.
I think it's just purely
Which
because
also
of
has
the
its fair points.
monopoly that they have. Like, if France were the monopoly that the US were in terms of geopolitically, then maybe we would be.
Yeah, true.
I think it's
lack of leverage there.
it's a sovereignty question, right? Like, that's the thing. Like, I think they mentioned the German state replacing Microsoft Teams. Like, there is the sovereignty.
Whiff that was. Real tough one for that sovereignty play.
There is
wasn't it?
there is
Did not do
there
good
is a
job.
sovereignty question here where it's saying we should rip them out and actually use a sovereign technology.
Let's do it
to,
with the thing that keeps everyone alive. What a fun game to play, right? Like at least Germany did it with a couple courts and a couple police stations. Like, let's not play this game with the NHS because it will just kill thousands of people.
Sadly, yeah.
Speaking of technological sovereignty, the last set of worries has to do with technological sovereignty. Plenty of governments are relying on American tech under Trump. America has become a less reliable partner as of recent. We saw the ban on front-end models for non-domestic use cases. In June, it briefly ordered Anthropic to stop letting foreigners use its latest artificial intelligence models. This included people who worked at Anthropic, which were not US. European politicians point out that some advanced weapons they get from America, such as the F-35 fighter jets, have kill switches that could disable them remotely, which America has denied, or risk losing technical support from their makers on a presidential whim. One German state has replaced Microsoft Teams with a domestic video call app. Well, there's a bit more than that.
There it is.
And it did not go that well. But I think that very, very briefly on the Anthropic very sort of brief ban, maybe slightly controversial or contrarian take, but I think that was an absolutely brilliant thing for you. It's one of the best things that's happened for Europe.
I think it was just a wake-up call.
Huge wake-up call.
That was it.
Huge wake-up call. And it kind of did get us, well, to be honest, it got us like, talking and thinking about it. I don't think anything actually happened. Which is apart from Mistral changing direction. It's like, and then we lost DeepMind as well, so that's another thing. But I do think the DeepMind
That wasn't in the
thing
wake
is good
of.
for
That wasn't in the
London.
wake. That wasn't in the wake of what happened with.
No, it wasn't a response to that. No. It's just like, yeah. But I think it was a good thing anyway, just to get people talking about it in general. But again, I've always been very. I will die on the hill of let's use the best software. Let's not opt in for some crummy vibe-coded replacement that we've whipped up in the last 4 months when we could be using something that's been dominating the whole space for 10 years.
Yeah.
It just makes no sense. And especially do not play that game with the NHS.
Yeah.
If you're going to try it out, do it at your local library. Do it at the park with your mates.
Vibe code the software for the library.
Use a different frisbee. You know, get the football from London. Get it from the UK. Don't use the American frisbee in the park. That's fine. But don't not use the American software in the NHS and use the vibe-coded homegrown solution, because that's not cool. They go on to sort of end the position with, in a world of geopolitical fracture, governments may sometimes want homegrown alternatives to foreign technology. The best way to nurture these is to give domestic incumbents and startups an incentive to innovate.
Which is happening, to be fair.
We are seeing that here in the UK, and that's a great thing. Colossum, Fractile, like all these huge companies that are raising a lot. Ineffable, Inherent, Olix, like
I mean, Olix, Fractal, and Colossum all happened in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, amazing.
Well, Fractal hasn't actually happened yet, but
Rumored to be.
Rumored to be.
Tom, if you're listening, we'll see you very soon, buddy. We'll see you very soon. Well, Tom can come on as well. We want to have the founders too. Why don't you come on all together? Big trio. But yeah, we are seeing this. And UK Sov AI as well, doing amazing work, driving that forward. There was a lot of talk. Was £500 million enough? We had James Wise on to discuss that.
And we were talking yesterday about the fact that they are doing it. We talked to Daniel, about Daniel is a go, and so is Kanishka, about the fact that we are backing more people. We're backing innovation, and that's good in a countrywide kind of effort, which is the main case. What's the conclusion here?
Well, there's a great sort of ending point here that kind of aligns with everything we're discussing. Cosseting local firms by blocking foreign competition has the opposite effect in terms of, we need to bolster domestic incumbents and startups and incentivate more innovation. In any case, no British firm can match Palantir's offering. As for the Anthropic incident, that was more the administration bungled response to a legitimate worry about powerful AI hacking tools getting into the wrong hands, and an attempt to weaponize other countries' reliance on American tech. Were the White House to attempt such weaponization, Palantir and its fellow American tech giants would resist it, given the sizable share of revenues they derive from Europe, including Britain, right? So that's a direct threat to their revenues. Dario was incredibly stubborn during this time. He was like one of the only individuals that didn't bend the knee. We saw a lot of people going to like Trump's private dinner. He hosted a bunch of these, incredibly well-known CEOs. Dario wasn't there. Dario didn't bend the knee. He didn't do the deal with the Department of War. He got a lot of support from that. And
he's still in,
consumer.
he's still in legal battles.
Yeah, and they're still going ahead. Trump also sat Dario like right on the far side of the G7 meeting. He put him next to Macron, which like I would personally love to sit next to Macron. I'm a huge Macron fan, but I think Trump did that to Dario as a dig. But yeah, that's the article. A quick breakdown. I think overall conclusion is like I think it vaguely aligns with a lot of the stuff that where we stand in terms of like let's just use the best software.
Yeah.
And at the same time, let's obviously we do care about sovereignty, but not to forsake like using the best software. If we care about sovereignty, let's pump a load of money into domestic companies, founders, entrepreneurs, innovators,
which we are doing,
which we are now doing, and like let's.
And I think
see what happens.
This article speaks to that narrative, which is great. I think those two sentences, costing local firms by blocking foreign competition, has the opposite effect. In any case, no British firm can match Palantir's offering. It's like. Yeah, that's
where it is. And if you wanted to,
you could replace Palantir with another company if they're good enough.
Yeah, we should have been. Founded in 2003, and then raised today pre-IPO. If we wanted to be doing this, if we wanted a Palantir, competitor, then why weren't we pouring 2.6 billion into our own domestic company? 13 years ago. Over that period of time. There's your answer. That's why we're using Palantir, because we didn't do that. That's the opportunity cost of not doing that.
Yeah,
so deal with it.
Yeah,
is my opinion. That's not. That's my opinion. Which I think is,
it's most of the optimists' opinions. Is my opinion.
I don't even think it's the techno-optimists. I think it's the anti-tech individuals who hold the most opinions about this. Personally, I don't think it's like.
Well, they're the ones creating the conversation.
Yes. Oh, and Zach Polanski obviously going viral. I think that went viral for how stupid he looked, instead of like I support this narrative.
Do your research. Like if you can't get the CEO's name right, every other fact is just dismissed.
Opening with the wrong thing.
Within the first 3 seconds was.
To be fair, that made me want to watch the whole thing because I was like,
no, of course,
if he's got that wrong,
true.
Bloody hell.
True. I mean, it made him get views, but like not the right
ones. Yeah. And we also saw his AI generated photo of. I don't even know what it was, some sort of like Green Party rally or something, but thousands of people turned up, and they've all got like 15 fingers, and like a lot of them don't have a face. Did we get that up?
We didn't. Is it from Zach Polanski?
I think I retweeted it. I was like, this is literally AI, but we can get this up because I think we just have to.
I don't think I saw this photo.
Oh mate, it's that. Okay, I've got it. Sam, can we pull this up on the big screen? This is hilarious. Like, all these people, it's harder to see, to be fair, on the actual screen, but basically, like, this woman here has, like, 6 fingers on her hand. When you get to this point here, around this line, none of them have faces.
That's nuts.
And then, like, this woman's hand is curved in a very non-human way. But this obviously went mega viral. It did 1 million views just from a post. Everyone was, I think Sam Bowman came in and was like, looks like a great time. He can really get a good view. It looks like a Van Gogh painting of just how stupid you have to be to release something like this in sport. But look at this person here.
Looks like a great time.
Looks like a great time. Absolutely.
Oh, that's
legend.
great. 46K on the.
One for that. I didn't even want my like. Sam, previous guest of the show as well, works in progress over there. Absolute legend. Sam Bowman, we miss you. We would love to have you back on again. We had him on actually. It was our last episode before the Christmas break.
Maybe we'll have to run it back.
Great idea. Invite him on for a Christmas special. Very
Sam
good.
Bowman on for a Christmas special. Let's make it happen.
But that's the Economist piece. As I say, Archie will be joining us soon to break that down. And that's gonna be a really, really fun conversation. Really excited.
Yeah, I'm pumped.
For that.
I'm pumped. Anyway, Polymarket, the world's largest prediction market. Stay informed and profit from your knowledge. Go to polymarket.com. Profit from your knowledge. Let's move on to the next article about humanoid robots. We were talking about Elon Musk putting Neuralinks into robots. This is the kind of the first thing that we're looking at, and a humanoid robot has crashed into a wall.
Well, for those who don't know,
pre its Olympic debut.
the World Humanoid Robot Games is coming up, and this poor devil has had a
Been training.
career-ending injury moments before the big moment. You may have seen it online. Absolute total wipeout. Really unfortunate. Was set to break records apparently, and they've been gravely injured. We will show the video.
Should we just show it before we read the article?
Well, I want to give some pretext as to, like, what is going on.
Okay.
I also have like 10 different videos to go through because there's a bunch of different ones and they all have different styles of running.
Okay, interesting.
And then one had a stroke as well, or a seizure.
Of all the 10 different robots.
Warning, graphic incoming. If you are watching with children at home, make sure they are prepared. But humanoid robot crashed into the wall and nearly split in half during the Robot Olympics training.
Sparks flying everywhere. It was crazy.
Super intense. So the humanoid robot preparing for the 2026 World Humanoid Robot Games has suffered a spectacular malfunction during a running test, crashing into a wall and sending sparks flying in a moment caught on video. They break it down. A humanoid robot attempt to train for a running event has gone viral after the machine appeared to lose control and slam into a wall during a test session. The incident comes just days before the 2026 World Humanoid Robot Games in China, where obviously everyone's talking about it. The competition is returning. This is the second year after its inaugural edition was held in Beijing in 2025. So they don't do the typical 4 years.
Okay, they do this every year. Well, I feel like they have to, considering...
Wait, how many years do we do the Olympics?
4 years.
Is it 4?
Every 4 years.
What's the World Cup for as well?
Yes.
Interesting. Why is this obsession with 4?
I don't know. Have to search it up.
Must be a reason for that.
You get into Max.
But that does not apply to the robots. They do it every year. Every year they will be running the humanoid robot games. So we will now go to the video. As I say, warning, it's quite a spectacular crash. We can bring it up here. Oh, wait, hold on. Oh, it's embedded in the article, actually. Can we just do it like this, Sam? Does that work? Or share my screen? Yeah, okay, here we go.
Perfect. Get it going. It's very quick.
Very quick.
Does not look stable, though. Really looks like it hurts.
Gas from the crowd.
Let him cook. I got
The gas from the crowd.
Can we do it? Let's replay it.
Go again.
God, it's loud as well. I would not want to be in the stadium. I don't know where that thing is going to go. You just have no idea. Bang.
But like,
the guy
you can
can't
hear
even look.
people like the people are like they're kind of like, oh god,
that's like it
that's
hurts.
that's like a really
Do you know why they've
really
put
big
the big foam thing up?
Because
for it
it
to
ran into the wall.
Oh, they'll just
You've
keep
seen
running.
you've seen the video where it runs into the electrical box.
Yeah, and it's just like
and
basically just blows up.
Yeah.
Okay, so intern Max has said the Olympics happens every 4 years to honor an ancient Greek tradition. The original game started in 776 BCE in Olympia and took place every 4 years. The Greeks called this 4-year span an Olympiad and used it to measure time. When modern games returned in 1896, organizers kept this schedule.
Thank you, Max. Thank you for that. Can we check the World Cup as well? Just also curious on the World Cup, if possible. Maybe they just copied the Olympics. I don't know. We do have some more footage from the games that we will be showing you. Just a little bit more on what's actually going on during the robot game.
Yeah.
So,
why does it lose control?
So, it had a malfunction. It's unlikely to represent the capabilities of every machine competing at the games, but it does demonstrate, some difficulties that the developers are facing. This isn't a fully finished thing yet. We're still in the early days. As I say, it's only the second year of the Olympics for the humanoid robots. There were probably similar injuries at the second Olympics ever as well. So, apples to apples. This is just a standard thing. Maybe, I can imagine when was it,
776 BCE.
Yeah, that was... people were probably dying
Falling
there as
over.
well. Yeah, so that's fine. Anyway, more than 2,000 robots are set to compete at the event. In 2026, the event will feature 50 competitions involving 666 teams and more than 2,056 robots. The scale, that should be like the opening. You know, they have like the what is it, like the event, the games event or something?
The opening ceremony.
Yeah, they should march out with that. That would be really good.
Welcome to the 2026
World
Backlash.
Robotic. Right now.
The humanoid
really
Olympics. Is it called the Olympics? Sorry?
It's the humanoid Olympics, yeah.
Nice.
The events are modelled partly on traditional sporting competitions. The mainly videos that we've seen are all, the sprint. There is one from a marathon run, though, as well, which we can get.
Yes.
So with robots taking part in activities that test movement, coordination, and physical control, the program also goes beyond sport, the robots serving as flag bearers and performing dance routines. Now, the dance thing, weirdly enough, that was kind of the initial frontier for a lot of these robots. I remember the Boston Dynamics, which were kind of the first ones to start pushing this stuff on social media. I mean, they were putting videos on YouTube in like 2007.
Yeah.
I used to see them on Facebook.
Well, think about that's the reason they're every year, right? I think it's cool to be able to index and go from like what did 25 look like, which was the inaugural games, to what does like 2030 look like.
Yeah.
Every year they're going to get even next year, when they run the games, I don't think you'll see any of this. You know, this is headlines. This is robot is dead before its debut.
But it's done great for getting eyeballs on the event.
Incredible.
Huge marketing opportunity here.
True.
The growing size of the event reflects the increasing interest in humanoid robotics. We obviously saw the Unitree IPO as well in China recently, incredibly oversubscribed, and the stock popped like 400% on that day. Very much, the thing in China. For now, the viral crash may have given the unusual competition another reason to attract attention, even if it was not quite the performance the robot developers had planned. We can go into some of these other sort of timeline reactions we have here.
Before we do that,
crash.
just quickly, so Max has said to give enough time, so the World Cup is hosted every 4 years to give enough time to host countries to build stadiums and infrastructure and protect player welfare, given the commitment to domestic games. Oh, of course, because obviously
they've got to build everything.
They've got to build everything.
Countries aren't ready for that.
Yeah. Which is obviously helpful for the Olympic Games as well.
Of course.
Indeed.
Thank you, Max. Thank you for the work back there.
I could have just gone to Claude. But
he's in the research lab that we just
get Max going.
Anyway,
let's put up the timeline reactions.
Let's do that. Before we do that, I want to tell you guys about our friends over there at Framer. Framer, build better sites faster. The all-in-one platform where enterprise teams design, build, and ship production-ready websites. No dev handoff, no bottlenecks, no creative compromises. Go to framer.com/ETN to get a hold of everything they're doing over there. Let's go to where is here we are, timeline reactions. This is Ed Zitron. He says, one of the funniest things I've ever seen, the way it's gunning it with the cartoonish posture, the skedaddle backward like it slipped on a banana peel, then the explosion. Could watch this for hours. This is 4 million views. And I think we're going to have to just watch it again because we love it so much. The noise is insane.
So fast. Whoa.
Oh. Imagine
that
sound.
man is also just like, can't see it. I can't watch it.
They're horrified. They're probably looking away. And the poor children at the event seeing that thing live there. Oh.
No, maybe not.
But that noise, it's similar to, this is probably what sort of ancient cavalry sounded like when you were getting charged.
Imagine like hundreds of those running down the track.
Doesn't
even realise
whatsoever. He is just full-blown sprint into that wall. We hope that he's okay. We hope he's recovering. I'm sure they've got the best people on it. And I hope to see him in future games as well. He's obviously now a global superstar. So, sending prayers and love to the team over there that are helping him recover. But we do have some more angles for you guys. This isn't the only clip. There were some successful moments from the games, which we can share here. Well, very quickly, someone has added sound effects on to this. I haven't seen this yet, by the way. This is my first time viewing it, so I don't know what the sound effects are. But someone has.
Let's just play it and see. So That's so good.
That's an early contestant for banger.
Can we put that
Banger
in
of the
bangers
day,
of the
yeah.
day? Can we put it in bangers of the day?
Yeah, we can get that one back in later.
I want to review that at the end of the show.
That's
That's really good.
That's Alex Madritsk at Alex Dominic _ giving us the goods there. That's a brilliant clip. Let's get up the. So this is a more interesting take. This is from Erin Chen. Erin Chen AI. Another angle of the robot crashing straight into the wall. Sparks flying everywhere. To be honest, I think China's robotics industry may be over-optimizing for speed right now. Last year, running and dynamic motion control were meaningful because they proved a basic point. Before a humanoid can do useful work, it first needs a capable body. But once that foundation exists, simply making the robot run faster gives you diminishing returns. If we put cognition on one axis and physical capability on the other, this year's competition feels heavily skewed towards the physical side. Yeah. And then a few more points. I do agree, but this is the Robot Olympic Games.
I think you have to you have to index towards one. Do you not? You can't do both. Like cognition. Like also, why would cognition help in the Olympics?
Well, maybe there's like
It's raw power and speed, especially for a runner.
But
There's
even
no-
maybe
there's no
to like
mind
stay
games.
aligned on.
On course.
But what if they get runner's block? And they
What is that?
Where you like, is it runner's block?
I don't know.
That's a thing, right? Runner's block.
Writer's block.
What's the runner's one? Yeah, writer's block is definitely the block one. There's a runner's one where you hit like the wall.
You hit the wall.
You can hit the wall. Yeah, but they're not going. They're not running because they're just doing 100 meters, I assume.
No, so one did a half marathon. I have the clip.
But that's in a marathon. I don't think they're going to do how they do the 1500 meters. I don't think they're going to do that. I don't know. We need to look at the.
We'll have to look at the lineup of the sports they're doing.
Yeah.
But one of them did do a half marathon, I think, and it was on a track.
It was on a.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
So if they hit the wall, they might need some sort of cognition help there.
Well, they don't have any.
hype them up.
They don't have any lactate.
What do you mean?
That's why you hit the wall.
Well,
You get lactate build up. You're tired.
Well, yeah, I don't actually think the robot's going to hit the wall. Obviously, I'm saying they need a pep talk maybe to get them over it. But Erin Chen here has another angle of the actual run. This is the same angle. We don't have sound for this one, but you can see.
Can we pull this up?
Oh, sorry. There's a lot more of a human reaction here. Whoa. Well, this is you get a better sense of the power that the thing's running with right now.
Yeah.
Like that thing is, I don't know how
Incredibly
quick it's
powerful.
going, but it's going incredibly fast. Andrea says, over-optimizing for speed, it's a speed race. I agree, Mr. Klinger. Literally what we just said.
It's a race.
It's literally a race.
Go for speed.
Why are they
Cognition means
optimizing?
nothing.
This is another contestant, a different person running the race. So this was the same event. This was the 100-meter sprint at the World Humanoid Robot Games. This is from Erin Chen again. He's obviously live on the ground covering this. Maybe we have to try and get him in the studio actually to get an update on how it's going. But this is a different contestant, so let's see how
Smaller.
Whoa, interesting strategy.
Oh my god.
Hands quite high.
Oh my god.
Ooh, yikes. So they've gone for a
I would
hands in
not
the
want to be
air.
on the sidelines there.
That's a tough one.
Erin Chen needs to work on his sound engineering. I think
yikes.
the tunes aren't exactly.
Tunes aren't great, but very different strategy to the previous one. Hands were.
Are they going to run
the
side by
air.
side?
That would be cool actually to get them all to go
Oh,
together.
it'd be
I mean, that
carnage.
would be carnage.
It just wouldn't work.
This is another view of a different type of running style. So this one has same race, but they they have a very different style to the previous runners. So we've had the typical hands by the side running, which is the first one. We've had a kind of more hands in the air, kind of like a crab. This one is a little bit more elegant, apparently. This might be the most elegant running motion you'll ever see from a humanoid robot, tested ahead of the
put it
World
up.
Humanoid Robot Games. Let's get this one on the screen.
That's a human.
They're off, though. They're just
Whoa.
gone.
Oh, it's going round the track.
Yeah, they're...
Interesting.
and then I know it's still standing. But that's, arms down. Are they running after it because it's like not doing or going where it's meant to go?
I don't know.
But that's another style.
At least
That's
they made it
another-
stop without crashing into a wall or breaking or any
Yeah, it
sparks
seems that
flying
they saved the tech there. No tech debt. And then we obviously did have one casualty. Well, two actually, because we obviously had the back episode with the first guy, but then this robot actually, unfortunately, ended up having a stroke at the games. I think it may have been nervous, may have been sort of not ready to perform on stage, so they had to hold it down.
Can they not just turn it off?
Is this the original here at the bottom?
Yeah, that's the
I think it
original.
might be.
Oh,
So maybe one more
is this the
time.
one that had the stroke as well? Before the race? Maybe
I don't think so. There's different colours maybe.
every time.
So yeah, it's there's a load of casualties coming out from the humanoid robot.
Seems like these people don't really know how to actually deal with their robots, which actually
getting
is
there.
kind of scary.
I think maybe just the last contestant here. This has some counterweights on it. Okay, this is from the same guy. So this guy's obviously maybe on the ground. They're reporting as well. This is another completely different style of running. If we can just pull this last one up, we can keep going.
Okay, this one looks pretty good. Whoa, maybe not.
Good recovery. Oh, I know. Is that the OG?
No, that's a different one.
Oh, yikes! That's a.
This one looks the smoothest. But he doesn't look too good there.
Oh, yikes.
It looks like when you like kill a spider and they
Okay.
like, kind of go.
Curl
Yeah.
up. Yeah, I hear that. That's real tough out there. That's the humanoid robotics Olympics breakdown. We're gonna have to try and get someone on the show to hopefully that's been there. Maybe have our team reach out.
Can we just for the memories? Can we pull the most OG video back up? I just want to see it one more time.
The first one we had.
Yeah. The OG sparks flying everywhere.
Yeah, let's just get it up one more time. There we go.
Let's pull this one up just for the viewers who didn't see this. The OG, not looking good. Bang! Whoa!
Yeah, I got error. Log off for the robot.
It's
Tough
game
out there.
over. It's game over. Anyway, we
Humanoid
can move on.
robotics lineup. That's what we have to show you. That's our live coverage of the event.
Indeed. Let's go to 11 Labs. AI that communicates at a human level across every channel and modality, deploy conversational agents across every customer interaction, and create on-brand content at scale in 70 languages. Go to 11labs.io.
Up next, there's been a prison sentence and a fine, 300 million actually, for a
Incredible amount of money.
founder who has committed fraud on head injury and then sentenced to prison. Her name is Christine Hunsicker, and the crime has sentenced her for 5 years. Is what she's done. So a founder, they had a mirror fall on her head, and she's claiming that it messed up her brain, and then that's why
She was committing fraud.
Yeah.
For months. No, for years.
Which is great.
For years, by the way.
So
Let's give some context because this is just an insane story.
she's a fashion tech entrepreneur, and her name is Christine Hunsicker, who argued that she committed a near $300 million fraud, in part because a mirror fell on her head. Has been sentenced to 5 years in prison. Judge Paul Wetkin told the courtroom on Thursday that Hunsicker knew what she was doing and she knew it was wrong, even though he believed the injury sustained from the mirror was real and contributed. So they've recognized the fact that, yes, she was hit on the head with a mirror.
Doesn't mean years of
And
fraud.
it may
come
have
after it.
her cognitive abilities.
Well, let's go to her defense. Like, what does her defense say? Because
Well, it's been questioned by the prosecutors, pointing to internet searches. They said Hunsicker made for fraud as well as created an audit firm fake. Hunsicker founded and led an apparel rental startup called Castle. I actually love the name, by the way. Clothing as a service, Castle. That was really good. They raised hundreds of millions of dollars from high net worth investors like private equity titan Henry Kravis and also chair of Alphabet John Hennessy, who also joined the board. Castle once had coveted partnerships with brands such as Ralph Lauren and Vince, with Hunsaker becoming a frequent guest on television and at conferences for business leaders. Then the company collapsed into bankruptcy. The investors realized she had been falsifying revenue figures and audited financial statements for years. A complaint from security regulators said at one point, Hunsaker exaggerated her revenues by 70 times. Hey, she should be in YC. This is pre-seed. This is the pre-seed game, Hunsaker. You're doing it far too late. This is how you raise your round. This is how you raise your round, not how you run your company when you're getting audited. And she has pleaded guilty to securities fraud in March. The defense that you mentioned.
Yeah.
What have you got?
Super funny. As part of her defense, Hunsaker claimed that she suffered brain trauma after a 30-pound mirror fell on her head while she was trying to move it. She presented evidence from a physician who said that absent the injury, she would not have engaged in fraud.
How the hell?
Her lawyer, Michael Levy, told the court on Thursday that the injury eliminated executive functioning, literally quoted eliminated executive functioning that would otherwise have allowed her to control her actions. Hunsaker's defense also said that she recalled almost nothing from 2020, 2021 or 2022, and that she was often awake only 4 to 5 hours a day because of the injury. So within those 4 to 5 hours, she was just creating mass fraud left, right and centre. Prosecutors sought a sentence of more than 12 years. Lawyers for the government said Hunsaker was cognizant enough to contemplate the consequences of her false statements and compared her to Elizabeth Holmes, the convicted fraudster behind blood testing startup Theranos. She cited a 40-minute talk Hunsaker delivered at a Goldman Sachs retail conference following the injury, as well as her internet searches after she had lied to investors, falsified audit reports, and doctored bank statements. Even after a suspicious investor reported her to the board of directors, Hunsaker kept trying to raise funds and searched bank fraud versus wire fraud severity, the government's lawyer said. Hunsaker's lawyers also argued that the founder had a pathological need to succeed and avoid conflict, as well as issues with gambling and addiction that took over even after the fog from her injury lifted. Hunsaker told the judge she wanted to apologize to investors and employees, and she said she started lying about numbers not to enrich myself, but to avoid conflict. Insane. Like, that is just absolutely nuts. Oetken, I think the prosecutor said, ordered her to pay forfeiture and restitution to her victims, each in the amount of $283 million, and said she would start her prison sentence on October 12th. Mad story.
I'm blown away. How can you, with a straight face, stand up in a courtroom and claim that as your defense? Just insane. I mean, dedication to the game, fair play. They went the full mile with this one. But even with the searches like bank fraud versus wire fraud severity, like surely that's
why would you Google
red-handed? And she's getting 5 years, which I imagine. I wonder what if we compare it to.
She was going to get. She was trying. They were trying to get her for 12. She's got 5, but then she has to pay the 300 mil back. And
she doesn't have that anymore.
I assume she doesn't have 300 mil just sitting.
Yeah, just lying around. Pretty mad if she did. So I wonder when
she'll file for bankruptcy, and obviously she'll be in jail.
If we compare this with Phoebe Gates.
Yeah, a little bit different. I think more severe. I mean, 70x revenue, lying 70 times in your revenue is.
It's pretty nuts.
That's insane.
Yeah. It's quite a lot, isn't it?
That's a lot of money.
Yeah. I also don't think Phoebe Gates will have any prison time.
No, I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
There'll be some palm greasing going down.
Well, I think it was fraudulent, but this had been going on for years. She is.
But I think she'll see nothing. Like Phoebe Gates, nothing will happen to her.
No,
she'll walk away.
Yeah.
Free as a bird. Nothing will happen to her.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we can move on to the next topic for today, and it is something a little bit closer to home for me personally, not wire fraud. It's GTA 6. GTA 6 is being leaked It's being leaked everywhere. We've been waiting for this game for almost like a decade now. GTA 5 drops, obviously, absolute record breaker, one of the greatest games of all time. No one will deny that. But GTA 6 is getting leaked, and there's a bunch of different footage that's coming out. We do have a video of some of the footage, but we can go into this. This was picked up by Forbes, and I'm surprised. They obviously do have an innovation arm, but I was surprised that they touched this. GTA 6 leaker drops even more new footage and reveals their motivations. Rockstar was hit Tuesday night by yet another leak of GTA 6 footage, just a few months ahead of the game's release in November, probably the most anticipated gaming release of all time. The leaker known as CyberLeak has shared images of gameplay and the map GTA 6, prompting Take-Two to issue takedown requests, though the social media spread is largely uncontrolled. Once it's out there, it's out there. It was flooding the X timeline. It's all over YouTube. The videos just can't be taken down. CyberLeak has actually spelled out their motivations for leaking the content. In a statement, they said, "A digital copy cannot sell out, yet publishers kept the pre-order system and stripped away its only consumer benefit. Now gamers pay early and receive nothing in return except a countdown timer and a cosmetic skin." This leak comes after Take-Two announced there would be no physical copies of GTA 6 for consoles. Purchasing a box copy would contain nothing more than a code. The move coincides with Sony's announcement it would stop producing physical games in 2028. Rockstar move starts this year, when it will net the game studio a better return on an $80 game expected to sell tens of millions of copies. This will be a huge... when this drops, I cannot tell you how the gaming community will erupt. People have been chomping at the bit of this thing for years. It is the biggest... It will be the biggest game drop of all time.
I think it's just because of how long it's been.
But, the anticipation is loads. It's it's been memed. It's we got, data centers in space before GTA 6. It's taking into every single vertical. And GTA 5, to be fair, for people that did play GTA 5, it was an insane game. It was very, very good. So this is
set to be better.
This is like the sixth coming of Christ for gamers. I mean, Sam, you can maybe tell us how.
Yeah, you're a gamer, Sam.
You're a gamer.
I'm not. I'm less so a gamer.
In terms of the anticipation for a game like this, what are we talking?
And he's
about?
an Arsenal fan as well.
And he's got his Arsenal shirt on.
It's quite honestly the biggest, most anticipated game. When it launched as a pre-order, it came as two options: an $80 version and a $100 version. Most people thought that the overpriced $100 version wasn't going to get a lot, but recent reports today were saying that 89% of people that pre-ordered the game pre-ordered the more expensive version. And on top of that, I think it was around 400 million plus has been made so far of pre-orders alone. Wow. So things were looking good for them from a sort of pre-orders point of view, but this new, but the new leaked footage has also opened its sort of doors to more AI-generated slop and stuff like that, which
I've seen a bunch of that.
Making it very hard for people to differentiate. And usually, an interesting thing that I found out today, usually a gaming company would then respond by releasing all of the content themselves onto YouTube or whatever, so that they can do that. However, they have an agreement made with Netflix, which is that they have a pre sort of launch, sort of sneak peek look that is actually going out live next week on Netflix, and the deal has already been made. So they can't actually go out and just publicize all the stuff and get rid of sort of all of this leaked footage, as it were, by swamping the industry with their own stuff, because they're bound to that timeline.
Wow. Okay. And it goes on to say, CyberLeak promises to release more screenshots on Wednesday. This is the hacker. The leaks hardly seem devastating to the game's prospects, but they're sure to infuriate executives at Rockstar, which will reveal GTA 6 gameplay and systems on Netflix and YouTube in just over a week. Studios certainly can't be happy that people are spreading and debating 3-year-old clips without context ahead of the game's launch. We've seen a bunch of AI.
Is it set to be this year?
Yeah, in over a week.
Sorry. The game comes out in November.
Release,
In November.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we've seen a bunch of, on X mainly, a bunch of AI generated GTA 6 gameplay, which I think if you know AI, you can quite quickly tell this isn't AI. If you know AI and GTA, you can very, very quickly tell it's like AI generated.
Yeah.
But I think maybe to the untrained individuals who maybe aren't too familiar with AI and kind of they're a GTA fan, maybe not a GTA, aficionado, then maybe it would fly over their head. But we have some footage to play.
Let's play some footage.
That has been
before we have Archie on.
leaked.
I think we've got Archie on pretty soon. But Sam will let us know.
Is he coming in
In a minute, but we're fine.
Okay.
We're good. Until we get the doorbell, we're fine. Let's put up
This is a
this
huge
gameplay.
screen, though. It's on YouTube, so I don't know.
That's okay.
We can probably just see a bit of it.
Just take me off the screen. Take me off the screen. And then you'll be able to
Delete-
see the whole...
delete loop.
Just delete me. There we go.
There we go. Let's just.
Oh, look,
skip
it's
ahead.
ETN on the top right.
Here we go.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
So this is like eons ahead of the AI.
Is this
generated
AI
stuff.
or
no?
not?
No, this is legit. This is legit.
Okay.
So this is the sneak peek of GTA footage.
I don't know if this is a
Oh, really?
controversial take, but this just feels...
Oh, this is also getting disputed potentially as AI, apparently.
Yeah, I don't know if this doesn't look that great.
It's
think
these ones look like they've been folded in as a result of people taking the footage that was released by the leaker called CyberLeak, and molding it with some of the launch information of what they've said is going to come out with the game.
Okay. So like the actual walking around, you think, is more AI, whereas this stuff wouldn't be AI.
Yeah, so all of that stuff is clips from the actual footage. So the disputed stuff at the moment is mainly the gameplay footage. So all of the cinematic stuff is pretty much legit.
Okay.
It's the leaked footage, and the guy himself has been leaking sort of tiny bits at a time, but spreading it across
See.
multiple platforms to avoid the takedowns.
Very interesting.
He's
I'm looking
basically
at some of this,
holding
it
them
looks really
ransom
great.
at the moment.
I
Nice.
see.
I'm sure he's making a quick buck off that as well.
Incredible.
Which is very
Well,
cool.
great insight.
There is GTA 6 leaks. They continue, and no one can do anything about them.
Hey, hey.
The other day is coming ahead. Anyway,
I think we've got
first guest.
Archie coming in the studio.
Let's,
Can we bring Archie in?
Let's bring him in here. Good to have Archie in. Archie, welcome to the
Hello.
show.
Hi,
How's it going?
Good to see you both.
Yeah, you too, sir.
Likewise.
Thank you for joining us. I know it's relatively early where you are, but we appreciate it. We were discussing your article earlier on the show. To preface, and remember, we'd had Lewis Mosley on originally to talk about the relationship Palantir had with the NHS. Largely, would love to get your opinion on a few things. We were going through it, and there are some core elements to that, but one that I sort of feel strongly towards. Like, is this echoing the DeepMind NHS stuff that we saw a while back? I know that they were kind of anti-merging these things or anti-getting DeepMind into the NHS because of the framing of, Google owns DeepMind. Google is big, scary American company. NHS is, secure, homegrown, sensitive data company, entity. Those two things just can't generally merge in the current state of the UK.
Yeah, it's a good question. It's quite a terrifying world if we don't believe in the capacity of the British state and the NHS to take itself seriously and defend itself. And obviously, any contract negotiation, you're going to be working with a counterparty that's going to want to lock itself in, make it hard to switch.
Yeah.
That's going to be out for itself. That's true if it's a British business or if it's an American business. And it's not completely crazy to be a little bit more worried about working with American businesses after everything in the past 6 months and the Fable being cut off and all the news about ICC prosecutor losing Microsoft Office Act, all that sort of thing. On the other hand, if we're in a world where it is out of bounds to work with big American tech, that's quite a crazy world for Britain to be in. I mean,
Yeah.
and NHS patient records run on other Epic Systems in many cases, which is a different American tech company. Everyone in Britain uses Microsoft Office, including the government. And so it's sort of, there's a bit of a strange thing where I think the NHS, because people feel very, very, very proprietorial over it, and I guess because it's patient data and people are particularly worried, is a real kind of focus for that. But if you take that story seriously, then almost everything the British state needs to get ripped out, and that's quite a weird and crazy world.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does feel very, you can, like, very selective. You can have this, but you can't have that. What do you feel, I guess, like looking forward, like what is the solution? I think the data realistically shows how important this software is. How do we kind of resolve this situation, do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, so we tried in the piece. We obviously had quite a forceful headline about Britain being bonkers to ditch Palantir, and that's for a lot of kind of liberalism and living together reasons as much as anything else. It is worth saying that our read, and a lot of this is based on reporting by my colleague George Banjo, our read is that the benefits so far have been slightly overstated. So there's a kind of figure floating around about 110,000 surgeries, both from the NHS and Palantir, that is sort of on the optimistic end and relies on some assumptions that probably don't quite pan out. On the other hand, clearly NHS leaders, Met Police leaders for that matter, defence leaders, people who would know and basically, I would argue, have the right incentives here, unless you believe lobbying has really captured the British state, which is, again, one of those things where if you believe that, then we're in much murkier waters. People who take leadership of these public bodies seriously do say this is doing important work. And joining up data, well, like if you talk to anyone in the NHS, the digitization thing is a complete disaster. And so joining up data well kind of clearly saves lives. And so, to my mind at least, clearly this is something we need. And then clearly, as much as there are sovereignty questions, it strikes me, and one of the things I tried to get across in the piece was that the reason we're having this conversation first and foremost about Palantir and not about Microsoft and not about Epic Systems or anyone else is really because of the politics of Peter Thiel and, to a degree, Alex Karp and the rest of Palantir's leadership. And that's, I mean, I received a fairly furious backlash to the piece on Blue Sky. One will not be shocked to hear. I think it was a couple hundred comments to like 7 likes last I checked on my first post. And again, if I'd written Britain would be bonkers to ditch Microsoft Office, that would not have been the response you get. I mean, there is something about Palantir's politics that really makes this issue quite poisonous.
Sure.
And so if we did ditch Palantir, my guess is it's really going to be because of that, as much as the rest of these concerns, and that I think will be a trying world, but that's where it might be.
Is that fact of the values might be kind of contradicting themselves in the UK values and Palantir's values are different? Is that enough to rip something like a Palantir out of the position that it's in and out of the contracts that it's signed?
Gosh, I mean, I'm just very, very queasy about the notion that government should be looking at the beliefs. Not even really the actions, but
it's is it working? Yes, great. That's
But I mean, this is exactly, or not exactly, but this is close to what we're seeing in parts of America. Texas tried to have a bill stopping the government from putting pension investments with firms that were sort of too pro ESG and promoting ESG investments. Really? I mean, there's a certain mirror of that there. Sure. And look, if it becomes politically unviable for the government, then obviously that's a millstone of its own sort. But it's sort of the world where we are there, and the world where we do say, no, Peter Thiel said some kooky stuff about the Antichrist. He said he wants a more market-based healthcare system, and they've worked with the American and Israeli governments, both of whom are governments that Britain has relationships with, militarily, intelligence-wise, and so on. This is not working with the Iranians. That's quite a strong move.
So that part in particular, where we list, you do well to highlight the fact that these conversations are being had with an ally. Like, that was quite striking to me, and it almost woke me up a little bit. Like, I'm very pro, like, I'm techno-optimist in general, but it kind of woke me up in the whole sort of sovereignty debate. Like, the whole sovereignty debate is really connected to the relationships of, the Europeans and the UK not being as reliant on US tech. But if we do zoom out, like, they are an ally. Like, they aren't really being framed as an ally in most of these conversations that are happening, and I'm curious as to, like, why you think that is.
Yeah, the obvious reason why it is Donald Trump has done some pretty mad things in the past year, and threatening Greenland and tariffs. I mean, everyone knows the list. And so that's not surprising. I think what is striking is that if you applied, and so it's worth saying that the US thing is really front and center even of the Science Committee in Parliament's kind of investigation into this, which led to them saying that they recommended ditching Palantir. Yeah. That was really basically highlighting on the value side, 1, Peter Thiel, and 2, the US government. Like, those were the 2 things. And if you take that logic seriously, I mean, Britain's nuclear deterrent is still in substantial part reliant on the US. Intelligence cooperation with the US, I mean, there was some issues a few months ago, but it's still closest of almost anywhere in the world. I mean, you think about, the scale of US tech involvement, the scale of one of Britain's largest trading partners. it's sort of, if you think the US is in that bucket, then Palantir is like a really weird place to start in some ways. It's like, oh God, the entire architecture where the UK sits in the world has to be rethought from top to bottom. And yeah.
Yeah, and that's connected to a point towards the end of the article. You mentioned the best way to nurture these is to give domestic incumbents and startups an incentive to innovate. And something that we've been discussing on the show quite a lot is around the whole sovereignty debate is that it's all well and good to react to something and then claim from now on we're sovereign and we'll use our homegrown stuff. But really we're just screwing ourselves, because when I've sort of believed that when we say sovereign tech, we just mean worse tech at the moment. That's kind of how I default to it. But we should have been pouring money into companies, 10 years ago, like the US were, to build these frontier corporations and then rely on them. We can't just turn around one day. The opportunity cost of not doing that is the fact that we have to rely on US tech.
Yeah, I mean, this is maybe where my sort of the Economist neoliberal hat conflicts a little bit with the tech sovereignty agenda. I mean, one thing I mentioned in the leader that I do think is true is having government procurement be the lever through which you deliver tech sovereignty strikes me as just a totally unviable approach.
Yeah.
You have awful incentives there, where the second the government has a domestic champion that they're really working with, they've done a huge contract with. I mean, compare the politics of getting Palantir out, the politics of getting someone like that out, where even if they're performing a bad service, it's just so difficult because you're not supporting a domestic champion, and that's the issue that so many European governments have had doing this sort of thing. And obviously, if you have a worse tech product the government procures, the people who suffer, there's no real market incentives. The people who suffer are just everyone. It's just every NHS patient, everyone who lives in London has to deal with the Met Police, which is unable to track down criminals as effectively, who lives in a less safe country because the MOD doesn't have as good tech. And so I would worry a lot about any world where government procurement is the answer to doing that thing. Now, are there things the government could do to make Britain have a better tech ecosystem? I mean, there's obviously a very long laundry list. And I mean, the fact that we have vanishingly few data centers in this country, I mean, the list goes on, and my suggestion would be to start there, but sort of pouring government money into this sort of thing is not how the US got to where it is.
Yeah.
And Europe's trying a version of that and not doing tremendously well. And so I do think there should be some caution there too.
Yeah, I think if we zoom up over the next, you mentioned, right, like over the last 10 years in the past, the US were pumping money into companies like this for them to reap the rewards of having, a frontier organization be able to do something like get into a national health organization in a different country, right? So they're reaping the rewards of that. If you look now within the UK, we are backing more of our nation's incredible people. We're backing more. There's more money flowing into great companies that are being built in the UK. If we look, 10 years, 15 years ahead, do you feel like this conversation might just become redundant based on the fact that we are kind of doing the thing that the US were doing 10 years ago now?
Yeah, let's hope so. And I think it's worth saying, and you were saying this just to reiterate, this is not the US government came in and dumped a ton of money here. I mean, obviously there's some kind of US military involvement. If you go back to the 70s on this stuff, this is basically American pension funds investing via VCs.
Sure. And
absolutely, we are now, it seems, in a world where the British VC ecosystem is a hell of a lot further ahead than it was a decade or two ago. And so, I mean, we should hope that. Also, the fact that US VCs are investing in Britain, the fact that there's a hell of a lot of foreign money that's not British.
Definitely.
I mean, Britain being a financial center that is able to channel this money into its own startups, I think is a real advantage too. And so, no, absolutely, the dream scenario is this conversation becomes irrelevant. It's not that the US got here by talking about tech sovereignty. And so in that same way, the best way to live it is to do it.
Yeah. I know you've got a hard stop at in 2 minutes, so maybe one just last question. When Luke and I were discussing the article, I sort of posed the question around, yes, the US are an ally, France is also an ally. If this was a French technology, would we be having the same type of question, or is it just the fact that Trump and Thiel and Karp are at the wheel?
Well, I feel like Brits are baseline more anti-French than they are anti-American. but no, it is true that the US is clearly behaving very erratically, and that France might elect Jean-Luc Mélenchon and Marine Le Pen in the next election, so it's not like France will potentially not be. But the US is clearly behaving more erratically than our European allies right now. That seems straightforwardly true. It's also clear that Palantir, particularly Teal, but Palantir in general, is enmeshed in that project to a degree, and not, I think, as fully as some of the anti-Palantir crowd would suggest, but also that is worth taking seriously. Again, that said, does that mean you leave NHS patients with a worse product? I slightly shudder at that notion.
Yeah, exactly. I think we're agreeing. Look, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Got more meetings.
Go increase shareholder value somewhere else. But we appreciate it. Thank you very much. I'm sure we'll speak to you soon.
Much.
Cheers, Archie.
Great to be with you.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Ciao. Archie Hall, ladies and gentlemen, from The Economist.
Great conversation.
chat.
Metiview, AI agents for winning teams, the agentic recruiting platform built for radically efficient hiring, end-to-end, source, engage, and hire better with agents that truly get your brief. Go to metiview.ai. Should we pull up a video from Conrad? He is coming on in about a minute /now.
Yes,
Can we pull this up
let's
onto
do
my
it.
screen, just so we have it? Sorry, we're still on Metiview. This was posted from Conrad Rezko, deep aware light injection in type GPU.
Okay, here we go. I can play this.
Let's go.
This is really cool.
He says, while you play the video, I got 448 by 448 monocular depth model down to 8 milliseconds on my M4 Pro across 250 dispatches, which is fast enough to use in real time. Since the inference is written directly in type GPU, I can just feed the depth buffer straight into the lighting pass. It never has to leave the GPU or go through any extra synchronization step. Inference, lighting, and draw all go through the same command encoder. And so he's created this like depth sensor using AI.
This is like modern day witchcraft.
This is incredible.
You know,
It's
this was like the
insane.
1600s. He'd be burned at the stake.
He's just created a ball of light that he can manipulate in real time. And we're able to talk to this guy.
It's so cool. It's in
Conrad
9.7
is
million
on.
views.
We just had your we just had your video on. I'm mind blown. Please, it's even the fourth time I've watched it as well.
Really cool.
Still mind blown. Please, give us what have you created? It's incredible.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Of course.
So the demo is basically just injecting light into a frame. It's not like, some new groundbreaking tech, but the groundbreaking part is the fact that you can run the AI and also inject it into existing like effect like this one. So basically you are moving from editing a video to doing like a game in 3D. So you basically have a 3D scene and you can apply all the like rendering methods and tricks we know, like this one, to create some amazing stuff. This is just the effect that came to my mind when the first thing that came to my mind, basically.
This is so cool. 9.7 million views. And you posted this only like 3 days ago. What's it been like? Have you had people reaching out? Like, what's going on?
You got VCs
Yeah, of
asking you
course.
asking you.
The VCs are coming, are they?
Yeah.
They must
Yeah,
be.
the reception was like very striking to me. I had like semi-viral tweet before that, but it was like peak 2 million views, and I expected this one looked cool to me, and I thought it would get some attention. I did not expect this amount of attention to it.
So cool.
But I think like a great proof of concept that if you make something cool that you think is cool and you share it with the world, you basically you will get the attention, and that's what I like, because Type GPU is a product that we are working on. It's fully open source and free for people to use. But with everything you want to share with people, you have to get to the people you want to share it with. And I think cool demos like that are the best way to not only showcase to the world that something like this exists, but to the more technical people that actually read the description and can parse it and understand what's actually happening under the hood. It's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, that's cool. That's something that was difficult to do before, and now it's like this guy did it in like a weekend. So
Wow, that's
I
insane.
can also-
Okay, what are the broader projects are you guys building with the Type GPU? You've got this one. What are the other things you guys are cooking?
So Type GPU is basically it's not like a product for users. It's
Yeah.
for developers.
Yeah.
That makes doing like this stuff much easier than it is without it. So you can do all sorts of stuff with it. It's of course the visual demos are the most striking and interesting ones. So we do a lot of those. We have on our homepage, it's typegpu.com. We have a whole list of examples that showcase from very simple techniques to more complex techniques. This I think is the most complex one by far. But we have another like inference of another neural networks. We have some nice like fish simulation, like a nice jelly UI. This was the previous spiral one. And all of the demos are for you to play with. It's open source. People can like inspect it, learn from it, build on top of it. So that's basically the idea. It enables developers to create stuff faster and with much less friction, which speeds up everything.
How did you guys like come together and decide to do this? Like, what was the thoughts behind, picking this as a mission? This is really cool.
Yeah, the idea originally came from a colleague of mine, the founder of TypeGPU, and the person who came up with it is Ivo Plaza. He's currently still the tech leader of the team. And we have a team of currently 5 people, and it's an amazing team. So we have a split of developing the library, doing cool demos, watching reception, etc. And basically, the project came to life because Ivo was very frustrated with the existing developer experience when he was doing his master thesis. And Software Mansion is a company that has a lot of research and development budget. We have extensive open source teams. So he basically came up to the CEO and was like, hey, this is a cool idea I have. Can I do it? And they were like, yeah, sure. Here is a team. That's how I got into the team. It was initially 3 people, and now it's grown quite a lot. And yeah, so basically a cool open source idea that the company believed in. We got a lot of autonomy and are developing it for people to use and enjoy.
That's so cool, dude. That is so cool. It's insane.
So you just come up with an idea and you're like, yep, we'll go build that.
Let's go run that. That's so cool. Are there, maybe you'll probably know this better, like, are there like real world practical use cases that you guys are coming up with at the moment? Like, I'm looking at this and I'm mind blown. I said, it's kind of like modern day witchcraft in a way to a non-technical person anyway. Like how are you guys looking to deploy this? Is there a plan over the next few months? Are you guys trying to branch out at all? How are you thinking about that?
So TypeGPU, the core team that I'm a part of, is we are basically focused on the foundations. We ourselves are not building like very complex high-level solutions for people to use, but there are teams in the same company that are working for more comprehensive solutions for AI, etc. We are basically enabling that teams to be able to do the stuff they want to. We'll just keep working. We'll release some higher level stuff, but it will not be like user high level. But you still have to be technical to be able to use those. But the application, you can basically use this for anything. This is just a showcase. As input, I get like pixels with colors. And you can create so much stuff with it as showcased in the video, but this is just one neural network. And without the friction, you can do all sorts of inference. Of course, also large language models on device, which is something that's, I think, kind of a hot topic at the moment. So there are no limitations, basically. If someone wants to build something, they can do it, and we are just lowering the effort they have to do to basically get started. But as TypeGPU team, we are not developing like products directly. We are just helping and our other teams develop them. Yeah,
really cool. So you mentioned like a split of sort of open source, frontier type of stuff. How are you guys feeling about this? This kind of resurgence in open source technology. It seems to be becoming a lot more popular. There's a lot more like enterprises using it generally. It seems to be a lot more like local developers using it generally. Was this mainly open source? Are you guys excited about the future of open source?
TypeGPU is open source, and the general reception of open source is broader because it's easier to be technical nowadays. You have AI that can explain stuff to you. So as long as the AI can get to an open source library, it can figure out how to use it. So that's the great thing, that it's easier to use them. But it's also, I think, some sort of challenge for maintainers, because of course this stuff is pretty complex, and AI is pretty smart, but I don't think it's there yet to. That's another great example of the library.
No, was that you guys? I saw this. I saw this when it launched.
So cool.
No.
So this is a different frontier. Yeah, but I think open source is a great thing, and I think that's how we progress as a species. Is open source those solutions and make it available for people to use and learn from.
Yeah, definitely. No way you guys were behind these.
Let's talk about the like the kind of developments in inference and I think like we were talking a lot yesterday about like the heterogeneity of like how this thing is gonna there's going to be models, very specific models for lots of different things. There won't just be models that own one thing. You won't just be able to do, inference on, 2 models. It will be, hundreds, if not thousands. I would love to kind of, understand your take at the frontier of, of technology like this. How are you guys thinking about, what the future of using a model, prompting something will look like?
Yeah, so that's it's really hard to guess.
Yeah.
Because there's a revolution every month. But I think the availability of local inference, that means on your device, not something that goes to a server that does not require internet, is becoming more widely available. And I think that's a very sustainable path in the future. Because as soon as you don't have internet, there's no cloud, there's no ChatGPT for you to use. And we see those smaller labs, open source models that are very great at the LLMs like Qwen and stuff like that are pretty small, actually runnable locally, and still can give you usable info. But so I think with the availability of inference engines and how easy it is to optimize and develop a lot of different solutions, I think this is the path forward basically for sustainable AI. Of course, large labs will always be there. And they are going to be the most powerful options. But as I showcased, AI is not only for large language models.
Yeah.
And you can have a lot of interesting specialized models that are good at one task in particular, extracting depth from a pure image. And I think those models, they have always been there. It's just much more accessible to actually run them and use the outputs.
Yeah. What do you think the relationship between the big models and the smaller, more specified kind of more specialist models? Sorry, will be where how do you think that will look? I don't know. You have a take there?
I think the large frontier models that will obviously drive the smaller models.
Okay.
Because they are producing outputs that can be used to train smaller models. That's what the pattern we see. So I think it's important, but I don't think we should become overly dependent on the large solutions. And also, I'm not an large language model expert. I'm more of a shader GPU inference guy.
Yeah.
And for me, I love open weights because, as you can see, you can just take them, yoink them, run some custom inference on them, optimize it how much you want, and basically, create some very, very specialized, nice stuff.
Really cool. On the I'm on the website now. I'm on Type GPU. I'm playing around with this. Yeah. I was trying to do something.
Can you put your Can you put your?
Yeah. Will it work if I do this here or no? Will that not work?
A little bit.
Oh, you should scroll with your touchpad. It will move the light back and forth. So.
Oh, what if I? Oh wow! Look at that. Whoa. What and then? Oh wait, hold on.
The model actually cannot create light that is not there. So it basically works the best when the scene is lit.
Okay. So
and you have a knob in the example that you can lower the ambient value, and everything that is not lit by the light will darken artificially. But because I cannot create info that is not there, I can only see I can only see the pixels you provide with me. So if you give me a dark image fully black, there is no info to extract from it.
Okay.
Yeah, interesting. Wow, but look at that. It's picking up everything on the camera projection as well, wherever you move it. And
there are some nice you can pick to see the full result or the intermediate steps. So the depth I can use to actually create the example.
Wow,
so cool.
Look at this thing, man.
A live
and then
demo.
If we could, I would love to know about the jelly slider decision. So I can't believe this is you guys. I saw this when it went viral. I think someone had maybe reposted it. They'd taken it from you. But it was something around how cracked UI and UX developers were getting. It's we're about to see this specific type roll out everywhere. What was the so this is the one that went viral last time, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
What was the thoughts here? How did you guys come up with it? Because it's so, I don't know, I think the main thing was it was really aesthetic and it felt really nice to slide it around. I don't know. Would love to hear how did you guys come to this?
I'm playing with the fish one right now.
The jelly slider, this is a derivative of the jelly slider. The same code but adapted
switch.
To make it the jelly switch. And the jelly slider, the original one, was not my idea. The design was pre-rendered thing I saw on Twitter, and I saw it. I loved it immediately, and I thought, I can recreate that, and basically went on a month-long journey to do everything from a custom little physics engine to all the rendering itself, to all the optimizations, so it runs even on weaker phones. So yeah, basically I saw the design, loved it. I thought this is a nice showcase that, I don't think how I would do this outside of Type GPU. This requires a lot of low-level access and like stuff that for developers is not really accessible and nice to use.
Okay.
So that's basically how I came up with the Jelly slider and went on an adventure to implement it. This was the first like viral thing that I posted.
What do you think you're going to create next?
Yeah, what are you guys working on?
Oh, you never know. The workflow is like I see something nice, I create it if I want to, and the 2 demos that went viral are like 2 of 100 demos I did. You never really know what's going to go viral. But I'm beginning to see a little pattern. I think the first person I need to impress is myself. And if I can't impress myself, then there's no real chance that I impress people outside of that. But I think I think there is a clear threshold that the demos, like technical demos to viral tweets, like there has to be a certain amount of polish to this.
Sure.
Polish and Polish. No, I mean because for people to like be hooked, it cannot be flawed. It has to be like, wow, that's awesome. You have to get that initial reaction for people to even stop by and look at it a certain way and get interested in it and explore. Because if a demo is like half baked, even if it's extremely technically impressive, it's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah,
That's really
you
cool.
have to kind of wait. You have to be patient.
Would love to just ask again on that, like what's your philosophy then? I guess broadly in terms of because that's like Steve Jobs coded in a way where they would make things that even people can't see beautiful because they would know. Like how do you guys think about design and like the reception of a product? And the thing I mentioned about like even you guys have thought with the jelly slider, for example, like I personally would have no use case for that because I'm a non-technical person, but I like sliding it because it made me feel good.
Feels nice.
Yeah, which is like really crazy, right? Just very quickly, would love to know like your philosophy on shipping. You kind of gave us a hint about it then, but sounds like perfection is the benchmark.
I think it is. I don't really, up until now especially, I don't have like a policy for that. Mm-hmm. It's something I'm discovering as I go.
Nice.
And that's something you notice patterns, and I think the one pattern it has to be striking. You have to show it to someone and it has to be like, wow, that's pretty cool. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I think minimalism is also a good policy because I see a lot of demos that showcase like big numbers or some impressive effects, but they are like very noisy, not very nice to look at, even though they are impressive in scale or something. I think, for example, the jelly slider is basically like a white plane and a jelly thing. Two objects in the scene, but yet they create like using light refractions and all of that creates something that is truly like fun to look at. And injecting a little bit of the simulation aspect with the when you move it actually moves like you would expect it to move. Is also like a nice touch. I think grounding those things in reality, making them seem real, like is also like a good thing for them.
Yeah,
I love
really
that.
cool. Really cool, man.
It's good philosophy to have, man.
We are slightly over. Conrad, thank you so much for joining us, and congrats on such a successful demo.
Can't wait to see the next one.
Yeah, we're pumped. Let us know when it's out, and we'll have you. Well, we'll see it because it will go viral. So.
I hope you will see it. Yeah.
Yeah. You won't even need to message us.
All right, we'll see you soon, dude.
Have a good day.
Yeah.
That was so cool.
That was really cool.
Really
cool to get them
last minute guest coming in there. I've been playing around. They got a load of stuff. They got like cube reflection map.
Let's pull this up.
Now.
Can we pull this up?
On my screen, it's just like a cube thing.
While you do that, I'm going to take my PC jacket off.
So I'm in a...
You can zoom in and out of that thing. Yeah, there you go.
This is another one by them. I'm not sure what.
God, that feels good.
Yeah, you've been wearing that for a while. Got the OS awards here.
Wow.
Not sure what this one does. Oh, this is just an award that they've won, I think. That's a great way to display their own award. So Luke's being followed around the studio right now. Are you putting it on Hercules? Just giving Hercules a quick makeover over there. Luke's sorting that out. Oh, sorry. Where was I? There we are. It looks great over there. Oh, Hercules is getting a makeover.
It'll look even better
So
when
we
the
can
zip's up.
Show that's a GC.
Oh,
We can
wait,
go
hold
ahead
on,
and
I'm in the way.
pull this down.
How do I get out
Sam.
of the way?
Get a full view of Hercules.
Oh, wait for that. Hex, the analytics platform where trust meets insight. Hex helps teams of all sizes by giving teammates the ability to get insights from their data wherever they work. Go to hex.tech. We made this happen? Yes, looking good.
Might need to shine a light on him. It looks quite dark there. Maybe like a phone torch if you can just show.
Hercules with the GC jacket. Looking good. It's going to be
real
nice
good
and warm.
over there, Hercules.
And I'm back.
Safe and signed.
Indeed.
Love to see it. I know we were just about to go on to, before Conrad came in, the next piece on why people hate AI. It's come from Silicon Valley. They're trying to understand why do people hate AI, mainly from the perspective of the CEOs themselves. Why is there such a backlash on AI? And we had Taylor Lorenz on yesterday tell us a little bit more about why America in particular have these negative feelings. That is because they are seeing, I guess, the frontier get pushed further. They're seeing more data centers built out in general. They are, they're closer to the epicenter of the build out. But also there are some social issues going on in the country that maybe should have a priority over, money flowing into data centers, AI build out, as opposed to social issues. But I guess a typical argument for that would be like, yeah, if we push the money into this stuff now, like we'll have loads more money and then you'll get it. But that's kind of a recurring thing where promises. But we can go through this.
I mean, Taylor was saying, the fact that these tech companies are giving money to directly to people who are accepting certain things is actually a good thing.
Yeah.
And obviously it's a good thing, but it's they should just do more of that. They have enough money. Go and just give some of the upside to these people, and they'll get it. There's a price. There's a price for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is the title of the whole piece. Silicon Valley doesn't get why you hate AI. The technology leaders don't seem to understand society's grips about AI, but boy, are they posting through it. As Luke mentioned, we've seen OpenAI house, open houses. We've seen them offer people jobs at the company. We've seen them try and educate them on what do we do, why are we doing it, what is it all for, why are we trying to build a data center in this town, why are we doing all of that, chatting to the local communities. They're pumping money. Meta specifically are offering and have been giving out $50,000 to teachers, I think it was, in the local area where data centers were going up. And the stats that we've seen so far are showing that towns with a data center in are collecting more tax revenue in general, and a lot more money is being pumped back into the local ecosystem there. But Silicon Valley is trying to make sense of the growing backlash against artificial intelligence, but so far it's not doing that well. The inconvenient truth is that a significant portion of the world is not optimistic about the technology they're building. And we know that's because every time a non-techie consumer sees AI mentioned, it's world's going to end, you're going to lose your job, you've got to upskill. They have not done a good job generally at marketing this thing. The rest of the popular culture, meanwhile, is finding ways to capitalize on AI hate. Just look at this new commercial for Liquid Death and Garage Beer. We actually spoke about that yesterday. I'm not sure if you have that. If you could pull that one up, actually, it'd be good to show it. But this is essentially
It's on YouTube, no need.
Okay, cool. From Liquid Death and Garage Beer, the two beverage brands teamed up with former Philadelphia Eagles football player and Taylor Swift brother-in-law Jason Kelsey, who invited people to urinate in bottles and send them to AI data centers. And that was a fully fledged global rollout ad. Obviously, it went super viral. Liquid's Death creative lead said that data center backlash was literally the one thing that unites all Americans right now. And that's a really interesting phrase. Liquid Death are experts at marketing. Obviously, they sell water, but are crushing and making a load of money. But that in itself, that phrase, literally the one thing that unites all Americans right now is the data center backlash. It's very interesting. We saw like Trump came out the other day and was saying that this is a great thing. We need to carry on doing it. He was pushing back against another senior individual in policy around the data center rollout. But it's starting to be like, it wasn't just like a right and a left thing. It's now like everyone just hates them and doesn't want them in there. More than half of Americans under 30 say they are more concerned than excited about AI, a figure that's grown 24% in the last 5 years, according to Pew Research Center. More than 70% of people polled in all age groups say they believe AI will lead to fewer jobs. And it's like, I get the concern from the receipt of the messaging today. I do get it. I understand why, like, it would scare people. But I do think that these stories, these conversations, these backlashes, every time there's a step change, we go through this. There's huge backlash, then it kind of rolls out, then everyone kind of realizes it's pretty good, then everyone kind of just stops having backlashes and they kind of just adopt it, and then it cements its way into normal life, and then everyone gets over about how groundbreaking it is, and it just sort of osmoses itself into everyday life, and everyone just uses it all the time, and they kind of forget about what it was like before. And loads of jobs are created off the back of it. And then the next thing comes out, and change again. No, I hate this thing. I love how it is now. It's like, if we'd gone back, you know, you were in the anti whatever this is now camp, you know.
I mean, look at what Uber did for ride hailing. Obviously, there was a huge. I mean, that's a textbook example of like. Technological change over time. You know, you went from horses and carriages. The people that would scoop poo off the street, their jobs were gone. Created new jobs when the automobile was created and kind of rolled out like to the masses. And similar thing, with Uber drivers and taxis. And there was backlash about that. What happens to the taxi drivers? There was violence.
A lot of violence.
And now a lot of people can't live without Uber.
I think that's a very fair comparison to make, because it was a globally revolutionary technology.
Huge. Yeah.
Right. Same as an iPhone. Same as AI.
Physically changing how people get around. That's
Yeah, it was like impact everyone. At least once a week.
Yeah.
In like more developed areas of the world. They've met. We've covered some of like Silicon Valley's means in which to like quell the backlash. We've mentioned them. Literally handing out money, investing money into communities around data center build-outs, trying to educate people on how they can use AI, how they can understand AI, how they can get a job at one of these AI companies. It says Silicon Valley is starting to grapple with growing negative public statement about AI. Investors and executives I talk to have grown increasingly worried that the industry is failing to fully comprehend how big of a problem this could be for adoption of AI products. Earlier this month, we saw Zuck publish his 6,500-word essay painting his optimistic vision of an AI future, which we read and we aligned with. We thought it was great. Zuck described a world in which everyone has a personalized AI assistant that knows you intimately, and we're slowly getting there. To be fair, very much ingrained, like mostly.
Well, we are.
Yeah.
Tech people are.
Non-techies are not. The writer sort of like outlines, I'm optimistic that AI will continue getting better and more helpful, but I am skeptical that this will be enough to transform the way people feel about it. And I really do agree with that point in particular, right? It's like, and every man can't sit there and check out Arena and look at the benchmarks and see that, this latest model beat that latest model. Like, that's not going to make them excited. In many parts, to be honest, that doesn't really get me that excited, because it's like it's way past the necessity of like capability that I can use a model in, right? There's no difference from me using Gemini or GPT or Claude for the tasks that I do. So my tasks are incredibly basic. It's just like guest research, show preparation. I'm not like spinning up multiple agents and doing. We have a guy that helps us with that, which is great, and like that's his thing. But for me, I could use any model, and it wouldn't really change anything apart from maybe like the way in which it gives me a response, or the way in which it like replies to me and the tone it takes, like so. Even like the frontier pushing at the moment, I even feel like that's not a great way to sell AI on the masses. And I think we've covered it quite a lot, but like I think that, the best way would be like, hey, we just cured this disease, so now like loved ones that you have associated with that, they're not going to die anymore, or they're not going to die from this anymore. That's bit all like, hey, this thing that everyone does every day, we just made it easier or cheaper. Like enjoy.
Yeah, I think if like the long, I don't know what the long-term solution necessarily is, but the short-term solution right now is is just passing some of the proceeds that have come from the to the technology, like hyperscalers, passing that down into the general public, whether that's with jobs, whether that's with money directly. Seems to be like the best. I mean, when we talked to Taylor, that was the kind of best solution. Like it feels like everything is being concentrated. She mentioned about the software engineer buying one of the most expensive houses in the valley, and people will see that and think, look, like I'm not feeling a direct effect on this frontier AI yet. My boss is telling me to use it, and that's pretty much all I'm getting, and there is no direct effect on me in terms of like how I live my life or anything positive. There is no net positive effect of you using AI generally as a general kind of person just in the workforce.
Yeah.
But if tech companies can figure out a way to create like an immediate positive effect on people, not just saying, hey, our model's amazing, it can do great for humanity. It's like, yeah, cool. Like, great. But like, what tangible things can it give it? Can it give me? Can it give me a job? Can it increase my paycheck? Can you give me money? Yeah.
A good one.
Direct effect. That's all. That's all these people need to. I think.
Maybe we should just get ourselves down to these local areas. Big picket sign. I hate AI. Ban the data centers. Water gobbling monsters, and get ourselves a
pretty penny
from
Mr. Zuck.
Yeah. It's good. If
idea.
you're listening to this, you should probably take this idea. I think it's pretty strong. You just need to dress up as an AI hater, anti-clanker movement. The article mentioned some interesting stuff around the Dario's thoughts, given his recent sort of his stance that he took on X. It's very rare to see a post from him, but he felt like he had to put something out on the timeline. He mentioned, I think it's fundamentally a crisis of trust, Amadei wrote. I think that ordinary people don't trust companies, governments, or the tech industry, and always suspect that we are cooking up new ways to screw them over. The causes of this go back decades, and AI is just the latest iteration of it.
Well, it just seems that there's it's like false promises, like, hey, like we've created this incredible world-changing thing, but are you directly changing the lives of other people in a positive way?
Yeah,
not right now.
I do agree with him though in that particular point. I do think there is this innate sort of like position to just not trust, especially in Europe, to be quite honest. Like there is a general like anti-wealth position, that person, because that person's rich, that means that I am poor. Like very negative sum games. Like because that person's rich, like for him or her to get rich, someone else would have to have lost out.
Yeah.
Like very sort of like zero sum mindset. I do feel like that, and we're starting to like come out of that, I think, as well, which is a good thing.
Well, I mean,
but inherently like connected to why maybe we're sort of like a little bit not as brash and like techno optimistic as other areas, like America, for example. But yeah, just my
argument.
around that.
We should have more people to come on and talk about this general diffusion into the general economy of general population, like the diffusion of AI into that population, because it is a very interesting conversation, and it's not necessarily something that we expose ourselves to really at all. But anyway, we can move on to London black cabs.
Let me tell you about Bank before we do that.
Let's do
BVNK, accelerating the global money movement. BVNK provides enterprise-grade stablecoin infrastructure for global businesses, enabling fast, compliant payments and digital asset solutions worldwide. Go to bvnk.com to get all of that good stuff.
London cabbies. Let's talk about them.
So this is
We've
a bit
got
of a
10 minutes
beast.
before our next guest comes on, but we can go through it.
This is a bit of a beast, this one.
This was an article posted in the early hours of this morning in London. London cabbies plot skullduggery to take on robotaxis. Mohammed qualified as one of London's black cab drivers in 2014, just as Uber's expansion began to challenge their dominance in the capital. He said, "Ever since then, we've been fighting. The city's world famous black cab drivers have lost almost a third of their income to private hire competition, but they have survived. Not least, Mohammed argued, because we're more proficient and we can get people there quicker." There he is, Mohammed. Now,
There's a
cabbies
chap.
and private hire drivers alike are bracing for a new wave of technological change, the arrival of robotaxis. The UK government has been supportive. History tells us that innovation just creates new opportunities, the Business Secretary Jonathan Reynolds said to the FT last month.
Let's give it up for him. Let's give
Yes,
it up for
Jonathan
him on the
Reynolds.
front lines.
The way to keep good jobs is to embrace change. Roughly 6 months after Waymo's vehicles began cruising the streets in testing mode, we see them all the time when we're in Islington. They are rampant on the Islington streets. Drivers view them with scorn, bravado, and trepidation. Some even admit they will be doing their best to lead their new competitors astray. I can imagine some gameplay. A bit of skullduggery, someone said.
What is the definition of skullduggery? It's such an excellent word. I
They
have to say.
pointed to the potential force AVs to give away in heavy traffic, sabotage their sensors, ensure that they become stranded in box junctions where they would be fined or even lodge insurance claims asserting it drove into me after any collision. Wave said its testing fleet has not seen any evidence of misbehavior or sabotage from cab drivers. We have built Wave's automated driver to be very human-like, said Alex Kendall, the company's chief executive. By not driving like a rigid robot, by driving in a natural and human-like way, I hope it can coexist with other road users in a very seamless way. Apparently, 2/5 of Londoners are against the idea of driverless taxis. This is the chart.
That's
I wonder why
lower.
it's put them in
I thought it-
gender. It's very strange. Not really sure why, but let's just go to the all.
Well, there is a trend there.
There is a trend. It's very strange. 42% oppose, whereas on average 29% support. A few people don't know. A lot of people don't really care. They're probably the people that don't necessarily use Uber or taxis for that matter. I obviously am part of that 29%. I'm supporting them. I support progression of technology and humanity. And I think those come hand in hand. It's an interesting one. Some taxi drivers are convinced that the robo-taxis will fit in. I don't know how they're going to work in London, said Mohammed, citing the city's narrow streets, reckless pedestrians, and unwritten understandings on who has right of way. Now, this is a point that I feel like this is a mountain that Alex Kendall and Wave generally, and then also Waymo, of course, need to kind of they need to climb. Mm-hmm. London is nuts. We were talking about it this morning. Driving, cycling, walking in London can be a very treacherous thing to do.
I've been hit by a car before.
There you go.
On my bike.
I've been hit by a car by a bike too.
I was cycling at 2 a.m. with one hand and no helmet.
Okay, well that's
And
probably
I was
why.
holding a pizza.
There you go.
It was deserved.
Yeah, I think
Yes,
it's
it was.
that's the biggest hurdle. It's a those like islands in the city where you have like normally a bus stop and then you have the bikes going the other side.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have one up the road here.
There you go.
Yeah.
Think about like in a busy street. I think it's near the Tower of London. There's one there that's carnage.
Did you see the clip?
That's the one I'm meaning. honestly, every single day, it's
Really peaked that clip,
awful.
wasn't it?
It's awful.
Yeah, it was really tough. There's like an old guy trying to cross.
Yeah. And
everyone's
these
just like-
cyclists are just like,
They are zooming past him.
but that kind of, I think that just shows how much cyclists are just kind of everywhere. To be honest, there is no rules of the road in London. If you go to somewhere like Amsterdam, where there's something crazy like 3 times the bikes there is cars or something stupid. There are incredible amount. There's so many bikes and so many people cycling.
Yeah.
But there's an etiquette. There's a way of doing things, and people just understand. So yes, it's kind of like organized chaos. Whereas in London, it is just chaos.
Well, as Max, the intern, said today, it's kill or be killed.
It really is
in the taxi game.
And so I'm thinking,
in London.
these robo-taxis, I have always thought in the back of my mind, how are they honestly going to go and do it? Drivers can nudge through rush hour streams of commuters at a zebra crossing by a city station, he noted. These AVs will not move. They will be stuck there till next Christmas, he said. They go very slowly, said Suzanne Sullivan, who leads recruitment for the Licensed Taxi Drivers Association, and contends that sitting the notoriously tough knowledge test to qualify as a black cab driver could still be a better bet for young people than taking on student debt.
So, on that in particular, I was, when we were in, not Wave, but Waymo in SF, there were
very
moments,
different streets. Very, very different.
No, but yeah, like different streets for sure. But there were moments where our car would get surprisingly like aggressive against other drivers in tight situations.
Interesting.
Where it was very much like it was the one. There was a fight for space, and the Waymo
was the one that would
made
win.
sure that like I'm gonna put myself forward here. Like
Okay.
it's not just gonna default back to
Well,
walk
Alex
all
Kendall
over
is
me on
quoted
the
saying we're
flanker.
making them drive like human beings.
And we've seen for months and months and months. We've seen like the Waymos and I think Waves were deployed literally yesterday actually to UK roads. We've seen a load of the Waymos with the human in there driving them around recently, just like going around all the streets. I think the first time I saw one was probably like 7 months ago.
I haven't seen one without a human being in them yet. But I don't think they
neither
can
have
do
I.
that.
Neither have I.
They can't
No,
do
no.
that until 27.
Yeah, they got to do some more stuff for them. But the conversation we were having this morning, like they will struggle because they're not trained on being like an arsehole.
Yeah.
You need to fine tune. You need like the arsehole model to fine tune it a bit more.
Yeah.
Is that swearing?
Denied.
What is that?
You're denied.
What is that? Is that
Swear, profanity.
Is that swearing?
I don't know. But no, you're right. I think there is serious question whether like London streets are not like any other city. Maybe like New York, especially I'm talking about the West. Yeah. And I just cannot see them, being
Aggressive enough.
Being aggressive enough.
Cyclist one's definitely a tough one. I think cars. I think they'll hold their own. Cyclists, I have no idea how they'll deal with, a swarm.
London
of,
streets are really hard.
Yeah,
to navigate.
yeah. I can see the video back there, Sam. Are we going to pull that up? I'd love to show that. This is the one that we meant earlier with just how little regard London cyclists have for like crossings. This is a zebra. It's full right of way.
Whoa. Crazy. It's a zebra crossing, guys.
You should all be stopping.
Come on, guys.
My guy's got to risk his life to cross the road.
Oh my goodness. Nice. Yeah, nice.
Like, it is kind of insane.
Oh. Whoa my god. You can just see the accidents about to happen. See, as soon as you get on a bike, what happens to Londoners? They just become
Insane.
right. Oh. Oh. Why you stopped?
But I love that. That's the thing. Like he's just the fact he's getting angry at the person in front of him.
For stopping at a
It's not
zebra
even
crossing.
in his brain to think about stopping. Do you know what I mean? Like he has to ask, and the guy's like,
Yeah, there's a person there.
Yeah, there's a crossing here.
The tricky thing with these, though, as well, guys, is that they don't put up the pelican lights. So for a lot of people, they kind of try and blame the fact that they can't see the lights that normally represent that there's a zebra crossing there. So that's why they fly through. But then also the
okay.
prevalence of like Lime bikes and electric bikes that make people go so quickly, and they don't typically ride bikes and so know the road etiquette, just end up flying through. Just becomes the
Interesting.
norm. Sheep mentality, right?
Sheep
Interesting.
mentality.
Another
Someone else can
breaking
do it. I'm going to go
news,
do it.
Patrick Collison has just liked our tweet. It's very kind.
Let's go.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your online
You're watching live,
support.
Patrick. Please come on the show.
Maybe,
would love you.
maybe he's just pressed live and it means he's live right now. Hey, come on the show, Mr. Collison. Come and join us. We've been
Or
talking
follow
about
us.
Stripe.
Follow us.
Followers. Arthur Mensch did follow us, so you can join the crew.
We're talking about London cabs versus robo-taxis. I'm sure you'd love this conversation.
Load of thoughts on that.
Very different to what you do, but you are a
Well,
polymath.
he's probably busy right now. They obviously just bought Open Router.
Yeah.
$7 bill out his pocket. He's feeling a little light on change. Might need to come in and do some
Feeling-
do some marketing.
Indeed.
Use those numbers at Stripe. I mean, they do support 0.5 of the global economy. We have our next guest joining us very shortly in about a minute.
We could go through the tweet. Should we go through the tweet?
Yeah, let's get the tweet up. Have you got it there? Or
I've got it here.
You got it there?
If we pull this up, Sam, this was a tweet from our good friend Paul Bonnet at 20VC. He gave us consolidated revenue tracker for OpenAI and Anthropic, which I think is something that is just needed right now because of the very strange kind of narratives that are being pushed everywhere, and no one really knows what the numbers are, to be honest. What matters most, he says, for the AI build-out is the consolidated revenue number for both OpenAI and Anthropic and its growth. I was disappointed in the reductive takes I could read when one or the other reported, so I built the consolidated tracker to show the overall trend. I will share it publicly. Going forward, every time a new number gets reported and with enough confidence, feel free to send them my way too. My conclusion for August 2026, he says. 1. Combined growth is now stable at a high plateau of 6.5% year on year. The step change in growth happened from January to March, and its growth held remarkably well since, while Anthropic's July ARR number disappointed slightly. This was offset by OpenAI's acceleration. So, when one kind of rallies, the other one maybe slows down. Mm-hmm. Anthropic is still likely adding more absolute ARR on a monthly basis than OpenAI, but the gap has nearly closed, which I think is one of the most interesting points in this tweet from Paul. Is when you go and read the Wall Street Journal from Tuesday or Wednesday. It was very much doomer on OpenAI and how Anthropic is just like absolutely, it's surpassed and gone further considerably, whereas OpenAI is kind of just, is plateauing, and I'm just gobsmacked with the narrative violation here. He says it's even possible.
Let's
Paul,
get him in here.
He's in.
Let's get him in here.
Let's bring Paul onto the show.
Paul,
Guys,
He's the guy.
so great to see you.
how are we, sir? It's Friday. It's that Friday
Yeah, it's
feeling,
Friday.
Paul.
I spend more time with you than with my wife at the moment. And just telling me that he's actually quite jealous. And so you need to have him on the show as well.
Yeah, hell yeah. Let's make it happen. We'd love to do this. We'd love to make it happen. I know you've probably seen our General Catalyst merch that we're wearing, Paul.
We apologise.
You're gonna have to hook us up sometime. These are our new GC caps, our new GC T-shirts as well. We're big fans of the team there. Anyway, let's get into your tweet. We loved it. We want to hear more about it. It's been taking up a lot of our conversation recently. It's been taking up a lot of the timelines conversations recently. And I think people are confused.
I'm flabbergasted on the narrative violation, man. I don't know what's going on, and this tweet just offered so much insight that I was enthralled. So we had to get you back on. Please give us your insight.
I mean, the main thing is like, so first, why did I do that? I mean, there's a superficial reason and there is a deeper reason why I then published it. The superficial reason is I was a little bit tired of reading like takes where it's like, oh, wow, like revenue is slightly less good than we think. And so it's all going to shit.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? It's actually not. And when you saw the Opus 4.6 moment, everybody was like worried about OpenAI, and now OpenAI has raised some amazing models, and everybody is worried about Anthropic. But really, instead of being worried, why don't we look at the combined entity and how fast it is growing? And There are three deeper reasons why this matters a lot. The first one is they have a huge economic impact combined. So both of those labs basically make massive spending commitments, and then those spending commitments are used by neoclouds, for example, to go out and raise debt to be able to put those GPUs into the ground. And just those two labs, to put that in perspective, have committed over 1 trillion of spend. And that is roughly 50% of all the committed spend of the AI build out. So it is massive.
How much is that? So just quickly, how much is that kind of realized, and how much is that in the next like 5-10 years? Because what I'm worried about is the fact that they've signed this, future revenue for these other companies, and that's being priced into stocks and also how deals are being made.
It is all, most of that is in the future. And the reality is that you cannot put 2 trillion of capex into the ground over the next kind of 6 months. It is going to happen over a multi-year period. And so, of course, when you make like 125 billion of revenue run rate, on the other hand, the big question is like, how do you pay for that? Well, you pay for that over time with your revenues. And so you need to continue to grow. And that's why effectively, if you see a slowdown in growth, and that's the third point I wanted to make, then you have the public markets are going to sell off. It is just a fact. And so before that, I also want to say like the second reason is they're a very good proxy for AI adoption. Because today, roughly 60% to 2/3 of all inference revenues goes to those two labs. And the truth is, as a VC, like being very involved in that industry, what I want to see is like enterprises making good ROI, which is ultimately the only reason why they will continue to consume. And so it's good, maybe slightly backward looking, but it's a good indicator of like how AI, how AI gets adopted over time, and notably like the year-on-year growth element that I added to that. And then the last thing, and the point that you touched upon, which is both public markets and VC markets are disproportionately exposed to the revenue of AI inference. Well, just because of the, specifically in VC, just because of the amounts of dollars that are going into indirectly or directly into those two asset classes. So of course, like if Anthropic and OpenAI have successful IPOs, it is going to be a lot of dollars going back to funds that are going to back to LPs that are going to go back to funds that are going to fund new investments, right? Very positive flywheel. Conversely, if it's not the case, then you lose all of that. The second thing is actually you have all the neo clouds, all the neo labs, all the chip companies. Look, the neo labs get priced off the fact that like actually Anthropic and OpenAI are so valuable. But if the growth slows massively and open source takes over, which by the way, it is taking share, but it's not taking over, is one of the lessons, you have a problem. And so for all those reasons, I thought, hey, like I've done the exercise, I've done it for myself. Why don't I put it out there? And obviously was very happy to see that you guys liked it.
Yeah. Okay, well, there's something in there that I found fascinating, and we've not had that discussed on the show at all, but the element of like the index style stuff, right? If everything else is going super well, but then we just see maybe inklings or warning signs of a slowing of growth, or a growth that's not like to a pace that people are expecting for the level of money that like the amount of money they've raised and what they're promising in the future. Is that essentially like the whole like Nebius, Corway, like all those other guys, like would they be by proxy then just they'd be impacted by that to an insane degree?
Look, I love Nebius. It's an incredible.
We also
company.
love Nebius.
I love Fireworks. It's an incredible company, and it's portfolio company. So like I love many companies involved in that value chain one way or another. The main thing is when you're Nebius or when you're a CoreWeave or when you're like there are tens of those, not as good as Nebius, but there are lots of those. When you're involved in that value chain, you need to borrow money. The only reason people give you money is because they think you're going to give it back to them. So Nebius this week raised a $5 billion convertible, and it was at great terms. And the reason it was at great terms is, of course, it was a convert, so there is some equity upside in there. But the reason the terms were great is because people think it's actually a decent credit risk, although actually, if you take away the fact that OpenAI and Anthropic could pay for the 1 trillion that they're committed, even though it's not directly committed to Nebius in their cases, it's so circular that at some point it will come back to bite them. And so the truth is we need them to do well. They don't And because public markets are so forward-looking, the rate of growth is also very important. So they're not just looking for like, okay, is it growing? It's like if the growth is decelerating, you could even see air pockets in the market. And it will happen in the future. The reality is, to the extent that adoption is there and ROI is great, we will navigate those air pockets. And I do believe that that's what we are seeing at the moment, at least.
Okay, interesting. So what I'm trying to get my head around is like when these two companies do, eventually IPO, obviously Anthropic looking in the next month or two, and OpenAI, following fairly shortly afterwards, kind of early 2027. What happens because they're in this kind of like, we're looking fifth order effects, depending on whether they're able to hit the revenues that they can actually pay for these contracts and everything else in these circular deals. Have we ever seen like a public, these two massive public companies, when they do go public, have those potential constraints on if they don't hit revenue targets, they then can't pay, to a fifth order effect other companies? It just seems like there's, it seems like it's all kind of boiling up. And now when they're going to be heavily audited, they're going to have to go through earnings calls. They, will have to report revenue in similar ways, I assume, because the way that they report revenues is different. I don't know. It seems super, super volatile on just these, I'm very concentrated on just these two companies.
It is, but first thing first is like what we're seeing and what we've seen in the last kind of year is insane.
Yeah.
You have two companies that are growing more than 6x year on year at 120 billion run rate revenue.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's going to last forever, but like so far what they've executed, nobody has done in history ever. Okay, so that's great. Second, like when you go an IPO, the truth is Anthropic was saying basically, and they're like the hearsay is, they will raise a bigger IPO than SpaceX.
Yeah.
You actually de-risk some of your credit profile if you can raise the cash in the IPO itself.
Sure.
And at the moment, you don't really see Anthropic not being able to IPO. And I know there are so many talks about open source gaining share, and it is, and I love that it is.
Yeah.
But if you raise 150 billion and you have $500 billion commitment, you don't need only your revenue to pay for that. You have the $150 billion on balance sheet to pay for that. And they've already raised a big round recently.
Yeah.
So the cash that you can raise based on the growth that you have is also, that's why growth is so important. Like growth means higher growth means higher valuation. Higher valuations means you can raise more at a lower dilution. And so you're not then only dependent on how much revenue you can generate. And so it's again, it's not a snowball. So yes, there is a level of risk, but the first things first is clearing those two IPOs would be a massive positive signal for the market overall. And yes, thereafter, of course, like the numbers are going to be more public, but truthfully, like they're already kind of public. Like I could not have done this without having enough levels of details. And since January of 2025, there are actually not that many data points that you have to infer to come to the conclusions that I have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I had a question around, I saw the other day, I think Ramp released their some sort of like AI index report mentioning, it was the lead economist there, I forget his name now, but they do really great work, and mentioned, from the Ramp data, it was suggesting that OpenAI was actually growing faster than Anthropic quarter on quarter for enterprise-related revenue growth. And I thought that was interesting because I felt it was a bit of a narrative violation from the headlines that we'd seen from like the WSJ, from the FT, from like some other like trad media outlets. But also in the same way, maybe not as significant as I first thought it would be, because like enterprise growth is interesting in itself. Well, forgetting the fact that like this was based off Ramp companies only, so it doesn't reflect like the wider market. Enterprise growth itself is interesting, but like if we are seeing open source models take elements of revenue share from enterprise companies, does it more matter on the growth of like specifically the contract? It doesn't really matter how many enterprise companies are adopting your product, because I feel that they're probably going to start losing some of that to open source. But surely like the concentration of revenue in terms of like an ACV style, like if enterprises are opting in for the most frontier model, and they're happy to pay that, I would surely like put that above, we're scaling enterprise growth. Like, Okay,
Well,
cool. But
you kind of lost me a little bit, but like the RAM data first, I think the RAM data is actually correct. So when you look at the little exercise that I do, like it looks like Anthropic is still adding a little more net new ARR than OpenAI, but actually Anthropic has a slightly different definition of revenue to OpenAI, where they include partners revenue share into their revenue that I think OpenAI excludes. And so if you adjust for that, actually, I was already kind of saying that it was possible that OpenAI had closed the gap in net new ARR. By the way, great news for OpenAI. The second thing is, and it's another part of your question. So, but I agree with that. I think it's fantastic news. I think it's a bit of a narrative violation, but I think people are more and more cognizant of that. They've released a great setup model in July. It's paying off right now.
Sure.
More developers are migrating to it. Fantastic. The second part of your question, which is more towards like what's the net effect of open source on closed source and the two big labs. There are multiple parts to this answer, but I would say the very first thing is what really truly matters long term is that enterprises can adopt AI and that they have great ROI on doing so.
Yeah.
In order to have great ROI on doing so, the price that you pay for the product matters. And it turns out that you don't need frontier intelligence for all the tasks that you have to do. There will come a point where, like, for example, looking at an insurance contract and looking at an insurance claim really does not require a frontier model.
Yeah.
At that point, the open source models will be good enough to do so at most likely a much cheaper cost. And so therefore, you're going to use that and you're going to have a better ROI. But there are many tasks in your organization. For example, frontier is probably going to coding is probably going to require frontier intelligence for a while still. And it is a high value task. And so the aggregate demand matters most. There will be a shift, and it is true, and we're seeing it across everybody. So many people are being Ramp released its internal router, for example.
Yeah.
OpenRouter got acquired by Stripe for a reason, and it's like it is multimodal. Fireworks is absolutely crushing it, and it basically enables people to run inference on open source models. Yes, but it also enables customers to make open source model theirs by post-training them, which we've seen Harvey do recently. They're beating the frontier by post-training a model at a fourth of the cost. According to, which is like, why would you not do that?
Yeah, I saw Gabe's post yesterday. I think they broke it on Twitter. It was a really cool release, and yeah, the price was pretty staggering. Like I think they were like upper. Like left of the overall graph, which is really cool. Are we? I'm just checking if on the time. Are we still good?
Yeah, I think we are at time. We have another guest coming in.
One last question, very quickly. Do you see the examples from Harvey? Will we see others roll out a similar solution, a similar playbook? A Legora, for example. Is that where this thing is potentially going? It's becoming like locally owned.
I cannot speak for Legora. But if you think about your business and if a large part of your COGS are AI, there has to come a point where you have to wonder how you can optimize that. And so, for example, I'm investing in an incredible company called Solve Intelligence, and today they rely almost exclusively on Anthropic. And I think they're extremely happy with Anthropic, by the way. But let's say your gross margin is making up a number completely. Let's say your gross margin is 70%, and you could make this 90% by going open source. Well, actually, those $20 more per 100 that you can make could be reinvested in acquiring more customers or in serving them better in whatever other way, shape, or form. Yeah. So you then kind of have to wonder, is it worth it? Is it worth my time to actually train a model that is custom to me and may perform even better? Is it a competitive advantage as well? But also, like, is it what I should focus on right now? Because there are so many markets that are still being competed for that it is certainly not the best use of time in most nascent markets to actually try to rebuild your own things when you're not at scale just yet. I mean, Harvey is already a big company and it is still growing fast, and probably that makes sense for them. For most people, it still doesn't make sense, I don't think.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, makes a lot of sense. We've run over, unfortunately. Paul, we always do that when we're with you.
Thanks so much.
Thanks so much for joining us, bro.
We'll see you soon.
Good to see you.
Ciao.
Up next, we have Ed coming into the studio.
Let's go. Can we bring Ed in? Is he here? If not, ciao. And, well, let's just do an Airwallex read anyway. Leave their business back in behind with Airwallex, the all-in financial platform built for the pace of modern business. Multi-currency accounts, corporate cards, expense management, online payments, all in one platform. Get it at airwallex.com. We're back, and Ed is coming into the studio as we speak, I think.
Let's go, sir. Let's get this guy in here. Let me hit
That was me.
the Imperial March from Mr. Klinger. Look at this guy. Dude, so good to have you on here.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me.
Give me a sec. Wait.
Luke's grabbing something.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Oh, we've lost Cameron.
Oh, we've lost Luke. Cameron's gone rogue, but we've got
the same book, Ed.
We've got Musk's book.
There it is.
Oh, what a backdrop! Like,
Yeah,
you see, this
he's
is
got a
when
backdrop.
when I make it when I'm older. One of my dreams is to have a beautiful bookshelf as such right there. You guys look kind of similar, actually. You know.
This is the greatest compliment I've ever been paid. The comparison, I mean.
Let's get into the interview. Ed, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Always love talking to you. Start us off with Flock. Obviously, you just had an incredible outcome very, very recently. Tell us about it. We're going to go through some war stories. I'm excited.
Yeah. So I could give you the quick introduction to Flock and what we do. So Flock's a company I started with my co-founder 10 years ago on June the 1st, 2016. And it's a relevant date because we ended up selling the business on June the 1st, 2026. So it's precisely 10 years to the day from starting the business to selling the business.
Yeah.
We're what you would call an insurtech. Meaning we have built a digital and now obviously AI-powered platform for making insurance faster, quicker, easier, more accurate, and more helpful. And our customers are fleets of commercial vehicles. So we insure probably around a third of the UK's Amazon vans, by way of example. We install little devices in the vehicles. We track them in real time. And the safer they drive, the less they pay. So essentially we're paying our customers back for driving more safely. We raised from some great investors. We were lucky to have, the likes of Chamath, Octopus Ventures, Anthemis on board through the journey. And then we partnered with an insurance company who you probably have heard of, which is Admiral. They're the UK's largest motor insurer. And the partnership went well, and they decided to acquire us. So that's the kind of the potted history of the business in a few sentences.
Love it. Absolutely love it. I mean, first thing that I want to ask is when we properly met and we spoke to you, you said like the main mission was, making the world quantifiably safer. I kind of want to ask just like a general founder question of like building a company, like how important is it to like understand the mission that you're on, go and kind of quantify the mission and actually kind of speak it into existence. It doesn't have to be, I think you have more insight in, than me. Would love to, because you put it very, very well when we spoke last.
Yeah. So it's a bit of a religion at Flock, actually, our mission, and it's been incredibly helpful for us. I didn't know how helpful it was going to be when we started the business, and we got lucky because it's turned out to be one of the most important guiding sentences and mantras for the entire business. So we make the world quantifiably safer. The word quantifiably is quite important. We want to be able to measure it. We want to be able to show it on a dashboard in the office. We want to be able to set targets against it, right? Like, and the way that it actually appears in what we do is basically we want vehicles that we insure to crash less.
Yeah.
Right. So we want, if we insure tens of thousands of vehicles and you have tens of thousands of claims over the course of a few years, if you can reduce the number of crashes, reduce the number of claims, it's obviously better for the customers because they're crashing less, and it's better for us because we're paying less claims. So the reason it's been so powerful actually is because and I hope I'm not offending anyone in the industry by saying this, but insurance is not the most exciting industry in the world. It's not traditionally associated with making people's lives better. It's certainly not associated with saving lives. And because we had this mission of saving lives and making the world safer, we were basically able to go out and hire some of the best people from the industry who we were paying them way below what they could have been paid if they'd stayed in their traditional corporate jobs.
Yeah.
But they were really excited to come and work at Flock instead of staying on a traditional company, and they took a pay cut to do it. because they wanted equity in the business and because they wanted to make the world a better, safer place.
Yeah.
And then you can retain great talent as well. I personally don't get up every morning to build a marginally more efficient financial services institution. I get up every morning because I really believe in what we're doing and I think we can help people and save lives. That's really exciting for me, and it's exciting for the people who work in the business. So it's been very powerful. I definitely recommend any founder getting started or kind of wondering what direction to take their business. If you can have a compelling mission statement that you as a founder believe in and that you can galvanize a movement around and hire great people around, and that gives you direction in your business and helps you make decisions, it's incredibly powerful.
I want to talk about the war stories at some point, but before we do that, maybe this is a war story. I want to understand how you got Chamath on board. How you chummy with Chamath. Give us the story, because I'm sure it's a good one.
Yeah, Chamath was great. So when we were raising our series, so I need to go back a bit. Before we were a motor insurer, we were a drone insurer. The sound effects.
We have a sound effect for everything, man.
I've never heard so many sound effects about insurance. It's unbelievable. So before we were a motor insurer, we actually started as a drone analytics company.
Did,
so we were doing analysis around drone flights.
Yeah.
Then we faffed around with that for far too long, and then we realized that we could insure the drone flights using the data that we collect from the drone. Cool. So we became an insurance business. Then we built that insurance business up, and we realized another obvious thing in hindsight, which is that you're not going to build a big drone insurance business. I mean, it's like the derivative of what is already a very small industry.
Yeah.
So we said, right, we need to change course. We need to launch into an industry that's 1,000 times bigger than the one we're in. In startup world, you would call this a pivot. Okay, so we had to pivot the business, which was really painful because we had employees and investors, and we'd set up this whole business to go in one direction, and we had to lurch it in another. Whilst we were pivoting the business, we realized we could do exactly the same thing, but in the commercial automotive market. And whilst we were pivoting the business, we also had to raise a Series A. And I can't think of a worse time to have to raise a Series A than when you're basically changing the entire strategy of the business, basically saying goodbye to all of your existing customers and trying to win a new set of customers. And so the response to the Series A raise was exactly what you would expect, which is most of the investors we spoke to basically saying, guys, it's cool what you've done over here in the drone industry. Now you're telling me that you want to go and build $1 billion motor insurer, but you don't have the proof points to do it. So I'm not going to back the Series A. And so how did we get introduced to Chamath? Because Chamath is the person who ultimately took the bet on us. We had seen that he was on a podcast. And the person who was interviewing him on the podcast was a friend of a friend. So we got in touch with the friend, and they introduced us to the podcast host, and the podcast host introduced us to Chamath. He introduced us to the partner in New York. So, one of the concepts I talk about a lot is luck surface area, right? The ability to kind of spot and find and actually actively go and seek lucky things. And a big part of that is seeing these connections and going after them. And I'm lucky enough to have people in my life, like my wife, who spots these things and who encourages me to go after them. And it was her. She was the one who actually said. That's why he's not she was the one who said.
Go on.
It should be. That's why she is the goat.
I know.
So she was the one who said, "Look, we've got this route to Chamath." And what Chamath did is when he saw the pitch and when he realized that we could do the drone thing in motor, he had that kind of big Silicon Valley mindset. And instead of being risk averse and saying, I'd need more traction, he said, I absolutely love this. Go pedal to the metal, see how big you can grow this motor business. And we ended up agreeing that they would invest, I think it was $8 million. And we went through extensive due diligence and agreed the financials and the financial growth plan and everything else. And the day before the term sheet arrived with the precise numbers on it, I actually texted the partner and said, thoughts on making it 9 million, right? Like, would you be up for just putting in another million? And he just sends back this kind of thumbs up emoji. And that was it. That was an additional million that we managed to raise. And again, it's that luck surface area. Like it's the concept of don't ask, don't get, right? If you're willing to push the boat out and ask for things, you'll find it, you get them 50% of the time.
Agree.
So something
I call it the third door. Finding the third door is the
something
my saying.
Something you mentioned there, which I actually brought up a conversation that we had when we met up. I can't remember, like 2 weeks ago, a week ago. I can't remember what it was now. around like ambition and mindset and like European versus US, and how like sometimes it can be really great to have that US outlet because they purely through osmosis you think bigger being around them. And we were chatting to the guys at Colossum that just raised 100 million seed round, UK-based company. And I saw, take like Alex McDonald mentioned, he'd retweet, it was like, amazing work. This would never happen 10 years ago. This is amazing to see. Like, and it is trending that way, and we're all very excited about it. But I asked them the same question, that ambition like element of Europe, I guess. Like, how do we think better? Do we not think big enough? So would love to maybe just revisit that very briefly with you. Like, how did you guys... How do you change your mindset, but like, how do we think bigger? Do you think we need to think bigger? Do we have the resources here to think bigger? Like,
I think we do. I think we do. And I think this show is kind of proving it, right? Like, you're bringing in the best entrepreneurs from Europe, the best investors, and you're demonstrating that there is a really interesting trajectory that Europe could go on. I think Europe's in a bit of a kind of do or die moment, especially around AI. I believe there is a mindset change or kind of delta between Europe and the US. I quite intentionally went out with my co-founder to San Francisco and spent some time out there in the early doors of Flock, specifically so that we could speak to and spend time with and marinate in the kind of the investor mindset, the startup mindset that's out there, where every business is a potential centacorn, right? Yeah. Like, I've pitched Flock to investors there and basically been laughed out the room because I told them that we were going to be $1 billion business, and they were like, every other founder who's come and spoken to me this week has told me that they're building $100 billion business, and you're coming in with your measly $1 billion ambition. Get the hell out of here, right? And so I think it influenced Anton and I, because my co-founder and I, when we came back to London, we started, we brought a small piece of that with us from across the Atlantic, and it's been really, really helpful. What I'm seeing now in Europe is really interesting, though, because you're starting to see these 100 million euro or pound raises happening increasingly frequently. And I think there are a few reasons for that. Like, 2 reasons that spring to mind for me, or a few actually. Fantastic talent especially in the UK, some of the best talent anywhere in the world. You've got the Oxford, the Cambridge, Imperial. You've got some of the best universities in the world. You've got great research labs opening up here. So it kind of makes sense that with this feeder of talent, this is going to happen. I think social media is also the kind of great leveler, right? Mm-hmm. Like, if you're on X and you're a startup founder, you're going to be fed that culture kind of through the airwaves. And I see it happening, right? Like, I see it happening everywhere. All of my founder friends are listening to the All In podcast, and they're starting to think and talk like Chamath and David Friedberg. Like, it's a natural osmosis that happens. And also the one that gets talked about less is, I think there's the rise of the second time founder is happening in the UK and Europe as well. Like, the ecosystem has matured to the extent that now you've had enough exits that a number of founders are getting back in the game, either as investors or as second-time founders. And there's naturally a kind of a high level of ambition and credibility. So all of those things, the confluence of all of those things, I think is very bright for the UK and for Europe. And I'm optimistic.
Yeah, really
I love it.
There are 2 avenues we could go now, I think. One is the Musk avenue, because we saw a really great tweet.
Your Musk tweet. That was great as well. We could go down the Lux surface area or the Musk tweet. So we could do both. We got 4 minutes.
Whatever you want, guys. You're the boss.
Let's go Lux surface area, because you mentioned Lux surface area. I want to understand particularly because it's actually a really vague thing to be able to increase your Lux surface area, and I think it's very hard to be deliberate at. How do you kind of build an AI, to be deliberate at doing that? What is the structure around? What is that kind of how have you built the AI to have that structure and that kind of deliberate? I'm going to go create opportunities that you haven't been able to see.
Yeah, so I should qualify. This AI that you're talking about is just something I built in my spare time over the weekend, because it was solving a problem that I was really interested to solve.
You built it in a weekend? Wow, fair.
Yeah, it was built over a weekend on Claude. You can basically build anything over a weekend on Claude now. It's quite unbelievable. So the kind of foundational insight was that there's an immense amount of opportunity, potential introductions, great, interesting insight in the network that you will already have, especially if you're a founder or a VC or working in the technology community in one of the big cities. You're surrounded by people who are doing interesting things, and you've bumped into loads of them. You've had conversations with them. You've got granola transcripts of those conversations. You maybe have emailed with them or been on a thread of emails. to capitalize on luck, you don't necessarily need to go out and massively expand your network. That's one way of doing it. Or you just capitalize on the opportunities that are like right there in front of you. And, it started with me asking Claude really basic questions like, how many meetings have I had over the last year? It's thousands. How many individuals have been in those meetings? Thousands. How many words of transcript could you dig up? Hundreds of thousands, millions, how many emails, and so on. And suddenly you realize, hold on, there's this like insanely valuable corpus of data that already exists that I could mine more effectively. And I'm quite a visual person. I quite like to be able to see things mapped out. And so one thing led to another, and you're building a database of all of the different contacts and individuals that you have, where they work, the companies that they're working at, and who else who works at those companies. So naturally, there are connections being drawn there. And the real kind of game changer with this tool was asking, and I've tried to build similar things with previous models and have been unable to be successful. But with Fable 5, what I was able to ask Fable 5 was, based on everything you know about everyone I've ever met, every conversation I've ever had, every email I've sent, I even now have it going through my WhatsApps and my LinkedIn messages. Wow. I basically said to it, find out what the intent is of all of these individuals. What do they want in life?
Okay.
And what can they give others, right? And it was that question that led the AI to say, okay, I'm actually going to go and I'm going to deeply understand what these individuals want by reading everything they've ever said and everything they've ever written. And once you know what everyone wants and what everyone can give, then it's just a matching algorithm, and the AI can go and say, well, hold on, this person wants a mentor who's grown a GTM function, and this person is a GTM expert who's retiring next year. Link the two, and then you put some basic mathematics behind it. The closeness of the relationship, the communication style was a really interesting one. Like if you have it rank people by their communication style, it can start to, for some reason, magically pair people in a much more effective way.
Okay.
And then you visualize the whole thing. And I published this just as a bit of a laugh on LinkedIn and on Twitter. And I think I've had probably over 1,000 people reach out and ask me for access to it. And now I'm in an awkward position because I have to figure out how to give everyone access to this tool that's obviously intricately linked with my most personal details. So there's an exercise to be done there, but I think I'll figure it out.
I can see dollar signs.
Dude. That's mad. That is so, I'm puzzled for words and lost for words as like, this is so valuable.
Yeah.
Like, why everyone should be doing this all the time. It's so incredibly valuable.
Are you burning lots of tokens, or are you because you're letting it run? You said it. I think in the post you said it. I left it running overnight. Like, how much is that burn?
Yeah.
Is that burning a lot?
So I actually asked it today. It's not crazy. It burned 11 million tokens last night, going through my WhatsApps and my LinkedIn's just on that. So it's quite reasonable, right? Like it's nothing crazy, and it's quite efficient with its time. So like it at one point it even told me like, oh, I started reading through this conversation and I quickly realized there's nothing interesting in that conversation for us here. So it's quite discerning.
Who was that with?
It was neither of you two. Of course it wasn't you two. But by the way, I can say it has come up with some interesting recommendations for intros that I should give to you guys of people who should come on your show who I've had conversations with before. So I'm gonna set that up.
Oh yeah, dude, hit us up. Yeah, we'd love to host those people. Amazing. Do we have time for the must thing very quickly?
We have time. Do you have time?
Of course.
Yeah. I can go all day.
Let's go.
Yeah, we'd love to hear it. The must thing, just generally, like we were sort of going over the tweet that you put out the other day and how all of these companies are potentially interlinked. And I think that, like, reading that book, you do get a sense of how the Everything app, like X, the Everything app, was really in his brain, like, well, as his first company, right? Like before anything that happened with the PayPal team, like from the age of, well, initially reading his books, right? Like from the age of maybe 13, 14 years old when he built like X. Would love to get your thoughts on how these may be connected and what his maybe overarching plan is.
Yeah. So humor me on this, okay? Humor me on this. Imagine that your mission is to spread the light of human consciousness across the universe, okay? there are many, many pieces to that puzzle, but imagine that is your guiding light, and that's been your guiding light since forever. So what do you need to do? So the first thing you need to do is you need to figure out you need an enormous amount of capital, right? Because you're going to be building a lot of businesses. So he figured that out with PayPal. Then you need to figure out how to get things into space. So he starts SpaceX with under the successful guise of reusable rocketry. And then you need a robotics company, which is Tesla. Now, Tesla, traditionally seen as a car company, I would argue it's a robotics company. It just so happens that their first product were robots on wheels, and now they're building robots with legs and arms in the form of Optimus. So now you've got rockets and you've got robots, and you can put the robots in the rockets, but robots need brains, and brains need intelligence. So you need chips. You need a lot of chips. So he's building Terafab to build more chips than any company in human history, and you need intelligence. Where are you going to get intelligence? Well, today it's AI. Where are you going to get AI? Well, he started OpenAI, but that didn't work out for him very famously. And so he went ahead and he bought Twitter, and he turned it into X, and he turned X into XAI, and he launched Grok. So with this huge corpus of kind of human interaction data, live news, and so on, he was able to train what is now becoming one of the most intelligent artificial intelligence models in existence. So now you've got the robots, you've got the brains in the forms of chips, you've got the intelligence. You put that together and you have intelligent robots on rockets. You need immense amounts of power to power all of this, to train the models, to run the inference on the models. Where are you going to get power? You're going to run orbital data centers. You're going to put solar cells in space, which are able to very efficiently produce and gather up energy from the sun. Thankfully, he also built Solar City, which is a leading solar cell producer, and that's now a part of Tesla. So all of this comes together, and now, and then the last piece of the puzzle is that go back to the original mission statement. He needed consciousness to spread through the universe. He didn't want robots and robot brains spreading through the universe. He wanted human consciousness. And I think the final piece of the puzzle is Neuralink. So Neuralink right now, what it does is, you insert a Neuralink chip into someone's head and it allows them to control a machine. But Elon has talked about the idea of being able to download a human consciousness into a Neuralink chip in the future and load it into an Optimus. So now you've got hundreds of millions, maybe billions of robots loaded up with human consciousness, powered by AI, by solar power trained AI in starships, which are launching at a rate of, soon they'll be launching hundreds of starships a day, going off and exploring outer space, exploring the stars, discovering the mysteries of the universe, and spreading the light of human consciousness across the cosmos. And I think, it comes together quite nicely. And I did say at the beginning, humor me, right? But riddle me this. Did he seriously come up with all of those businesses in isolation? And it just so happened that every single one of them led to that mission. That feels almost too coincidental. So that's my pitch.
Very good.
I'm on
Very
board.
good.
I'm on board.
That guy is eligible for capital. Where can I put my card down?
I think, and I think you're right, because I think the hints are there with like the sci-fi novels that he like relentlessly pursues as a young boy. Like a lot of it is connected to the stuff that he's doing and aligned with that, with that story as well.
You guys need to get him to comment on this, right? Like I've tried my best to lay it out.
Mate.
You need to get Elon to weigh in. Am I right with my prediction or not?
We will tag him. We will tag him, sir. And you need to bump the post because you got loads of followers. So you help us out. We'll help you out, and we'll make it happen.
This man needs to comment, please.
Amazing, Ed. We are out of time. We're well over actually, but we love doing that.
Always a pleasure. Thank you so much.
It's an open
Keep
seat
cooking,
for you, sir.
and please can you give me access to the Lux Surface Area thing because I want to have a.
Yes,
I want to go.
I will give it a go. And you guys are doing an incredible job, by the way. I think I love the show. I think you guys are great. Very, very proud investor and now guest on the ETN show.
Let's go.
Thank you for your service, Ed. You're a beast.
Go. We'll see you soon, dude. Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.
What a legend.
Mr. Leon Klinger, everybody. Just coming with the juice every time. He's a dog.
Coming with juice. Talking about juice, Valerian. Valerian lets your organization deploy AI. You control your data, your agents, your keys. Stop renting your intelligence. Own it. Go to valerian.com for all your sovereign intelligence.
Love to see it.
We love
Next
sovereign
guest
intelligence.
Coming up soon.
Before we have Philip on, let's just quickly do some bangers of the day. We need to choose a few. We've only got 3 minutes. You put these in, so you know which ones are good.
Yeah.
Let's pick and choose.
Let me build a couple of these up. This one is hilarious. Who the hell is Bruce? Who the hell is Bruce? Says a fuzzy elephant. I present to you Claude Opus 5. If we were to click onto, is this gonna? Okay, yeah. But Bruce's comment is the right question. And then quoting the comment, do we even need this field in at all? And then the human user, who the hell is Bruce? And then Claude responds, nobody. I made that name up. So Claude is pushing feedback with opposed to Bruce from a person who does not exist. Are we armoring up?
I'm just putting some armor on before we have,
Okay,
before we have the goat on the show
as well.
Starcloud, excuse my hair.
Oh yeah, that looks fresh.
Oh yeah.
Let's get this going. Strapping in.
I feel armored up.
When did these arrive?
Just about 12. Thanks to our friend Adam, Solve Intelligence. Got a shout out today. I'm going to move my mic. So we have our Starcloud logos.
To the moon.
Let's go, Starcloud to the moon. Pumped. He's coming on in 1 minute. It was very exciting. Anyway, let's keep going to bangers of the day.
Now we're looking good. There we go. Look at that. Nice GC Starcloud collab. We're dropping right now.
We are indeed.
Sorry, next banger of the day. That was Fuzzy Elephant. Great name from Fuzzy Elephant. This personally, I felt this one in my soul. Brazen Spirit at Menatetrone4 says, I think about this every time I cook mince. It's ground beef o'clock, and you can see the silhouettes of two almost identical individuals there. Most likely cooking a boy kibble meal, which is a term that's referred to in the space of a bowl of ground beef with rice. And that's it. It looks like dog food, usually. So it's been called boy kibble. We're actually now seeing plays of gourmet boy kibble as well. It's becoming quite a trend. So people are pushing the frontier of boy kibble, which we're always very happy about. But that was Brazen Spirit giving us
405,000 views.
Hey,
Should we just say that's banger of the day?
The people know.
Let's call it banger of the day.
That's very quick. Oh, do we have Philip?
No,
Do we have Philip?
We have Philip. So
oh, he's
banger
in.
of the
That's
day.
banger of the day. Boom. Congrats, banger
Banger of the day. Let's go. Congrats, banger of the day.
Sam says
It's a banger.
Let him cook.
Banger of the
Okay,
day.
we're just getting ready.
There we go. Well,
oh, look at that.
Alex,
Banger
back on the game. Do it
Look at
again.
that.
Banger of the day.
Banger of the day there. Great work from Brazen Spirit. And also Alex as well.
Alex,
Always bringing the heat.
every day. Every
that's
day.
really good.
Okay, so I think we have Philip on any time, any minute now.
He'll be joining us very shortly.
I can hear him ring on the bell.
We've got the
That was me.
doorbell. Oh, that was
me.
Luke. Sorry, that was Luke. Just messing
Yeah.
around with the old
We could go through,
doorbell there.
through a few tweets. Why not? While we're waiting.
Well, I think Sam's just preoccupied getting.
Oh,
getting our
we're
friend
ready to
in.
go. We're playing a bit of a theme tune before he comes on.
Go.
Here we go.
10,
What's happening? Oh,
Oh, lost
7.
it.
RS 25 engines lit.
What's happening?
3, 2, 1. Booster ignition. And lift off.
lift off.
Oh,
Philip, how's it going, dude?
Welcome.
We are proud Starcloud merch wearers now.
Beautiful.
We got the
That
goods. We got the goods, sir.
I love it. I couldn't love it more.
Dude, you were up super early. You were liking tweets, posting, going crazy
Busy
this
day.
morning. Busy day.
Yeah.
Tell us what's happening.
So actually, I think right now we are just announcing, or 2 minutes ago, our Series A extension. We announced a $250 million extension at a $2.3 billion valuation.
Let's go, sir.
Huge congratulations.
A lot of happy people.
Everyone in the studio is going crazy.
that a real studio? Or is that like
Go
the button
crazy.
you're pressing?
That's actually real.
There you go.
That's insane. I thought that was a button you pressed.
We press the button and the team goes wild.
Yeah, that's all real.
Philip, this is incredible. Look, congratulations. Tell us all about it. Who's led it? What are the new deals? Yeah, give us the source. We'd love to know.
Yeah, so it's led by a fund in LA called Manhattan West. There are a bunch of folks that were early in SpaceX and Anduril and those kind of players. Participation from Benchmark, EQT, like all of the previous investors, as well as some new investors. We had Dalton from Standard Capital, Dalton Caldwell. We had Cedar, John Curtius. And then most significantly, we had NVIDIA investing as well as Cisco.
Nice.
So yeah, that's like a big sort of show of support and trust in what we're doing. They've spent more time looking at the results of Starcloud 1 than almost anybody else. And obviously they're interested in the results of that because they're now building out. We're working with them on this Space Rubin 1 chip, which is like a chip that's designed for space. They want to know basically how does an H100 perform in space, as well as what can we do to make the next generation of chip optimal for space. So that's why they're investing.
Okay,
so
incredible.
Cool. So
Can
cool.
Can you tell us more about the Vera Rubin chip, and specifically like what's different to the H100s? You guys kind of famously flew out the first H100 for a lot less than people were expecting. I think it was $2 million, something like that. What does is this? What's different? Why is it better? Why is it the chip to use in space?
Yeah. So just to recap for your listeners who might not be aware, in November last year, we launched our first spacecraft, Starcloud 1, which had the first NVIDIA H100 on board, which is about 100 times more powerful GPU compute than has been in space before. And with that, we were then the first to train a model in space, first to run a version of Gemini, first to do high-powered inference on imagery and other satellite data. And actually, people thought before we did that you couldn't run these high-powered chips in space because of the thermal problem, getting rid of heat in a vacuum, and because of making the chips work in a high radiation environment. And so, we proved with Starcloud 1 that we can do that. With Starcloud 2 that we're launching in about 6 months, early next year, we'll be having a whole bunch more H100s, the Blackwell chip and some others. And that will be the first commercial offering. So we've just signed a whole bunch of contracts with various US government entities to provide inference to other spacecraft. And then the Starcloud 3 satellite will be the first to fly the NVIDIA Rubin chip. And so it's like the Space Rubin 1 chip. And it's basically very similar to a normal Rubin chip. So it's designed for training and inference, except that it's optimized for space. And that means optimized on both mass, thermal, radiation, and structurally for vibration.
Okay, interesting. And then in terms of once the first kind of Starship goes, what is the cadence looking like? I assume this plan kind of hinges a little bit on good cadence of Starships, flights, kind of yearly, or I don't know what the kind of cadence you guys are it's looking at, but what's the details of that?
For us to be competitive with terrestrial data centers, we do need a fairly significant reduction in launch costs from here. About a 10x reduction from here, so about $500 a kilo break even is what we need. And so that could be either Starship or, there's a host of other launch vehicles coming online soon, but Starship is really by far the furthest ahead. So I don't know if you saw yesterday, Elon was tweeting that he thinks by 2030 they'll be flying on the order of 30 a day, which is about 1,000 Starships per day. 10,000 Starships flights per year. That is just an enormous amount of mass. With that, we can launch tens of gigawatts of new capacity per year. We've actually just filed with the FCC. Yeah, we filed with the FCC for a constellation of 88,000 satellites. Yeah. That enables us to deploy on the order of 20 gigawatts. So each Starship can fit 50 of our Starcloud 3 satellite. And that means about 10 megawatts of new compute capacity per Starship launch. So as soon as we can, we'll fly at whatever cadence these guys can launch up, but we're hoping that's at least several times a day.
Yeah. When I hear
demand.
numbers like that, like gigawatts, numbers like that size, like I immediately think like that is a complete
You're just breaking the bottleneck conversation, completely.
Yeah.
But more significantly for Europe as well, right? We're seeing, Mistral make these claims of 1 gigawatt by 2031
Yeah.
or whatever, like incredibly like energy constrained, or like maybe not thinking large enough because maybe we can't. But like, has there been like, what is the response from people that you're distributing this message towards? Is it like just how these numbers are insane? Like this is a bottleneck opener. Like how's it been?
Well, yeah, it's exactly that. So people are very constrained, particularly in the US. I don't know if you just saw, even Texas now has banned new construction of data centers. And, when Texas starts banning stuff like that, then you've really got problems. So, yeah, it's going to be an enormous bottleneck, not just for Europe, but also for the US. And by building these things in space, as you say, it's just an unlock for building new AI capacity, basically.
Yeah.
What is the extent on terrestrially? What is the kind of the extent of the bottleneck now? You obviously mentioned Texas has stopped build out of data centers, but where are we numbers wise at the moment?
Yeah, so the coming demand for inference compute over just the next 3 years is on the order of 50 to 100 gigawatts.
Okay.
So that's something like 50 to 100 new nuclear power stations that we'll need in the next 3 years just to hit the coming demand for inference compute, mainly for things like coding agents and back office business processing agents. Which there's no hope in hell of building 100 nuclear power stations in the US in the next 3 years. So that's just going to drive energy prices up. It's going to drive, it's really going to make it. So the $500 a kilo break even is assuming current energy prices and current, demand and constraints terrestrially. If that goes up, then the break even launch cost also goes up. And so we could see $1,000 a kilo break even, which is close to the current launch price with Falcon Heavy anyway.
Yeah. Interesting. We were speaking earlier, there was rumors of own rocket.
Potentially, yeah.
Would love to dig into this a little bit. I think
the Starcloud 3 spacecraft. What is that? Would love to know.
Yeah. What was the rumors of our own rocket? So I'll state we are not building a rocket. Just for the record, there are a few folks who are Cowboy Spaces. They were, they came out doing data centers in space. They pivoted from what they were doing, which was power beaming. But their solution, because of the constraint, is to build their own launch vehicle. So
okay.
But yeah, Starcloud 3 is going to fly on Starship most likely. So that's this flat pack form factor that we can fit sort of 50 of them per Starship. But yeah, we'll not be building our own launch vehicle.
Is building your own launch vehicle considered easier than what you're doing then? If they pivoted away from technically if they were pivoted away from being a competitor, they're now building their own launch vehicle as something that's potentially more viable. I don't know. That seems.
I mean, they obviously think so.
Yeah,
that's why it kind of depends who you ask. I mean, they think building a launch vehicle is something they can do in a reasonable time frame.
Mm-hmm.
Building a launch vehicle is notoriously difficult.
Yeah,
Nobody's done it. Nobody's been able to make reliable launch and anything under it's 8 to 10 years to go from a standing start to having a reliable launch vehicle, and several $1 billion of R&D cost. We would rather, I'm not saying it's not a valid approach. Some people can do whatever they want, but we've now got about $400 million of cash. We would rather spend that on developing the satellites rather than spend that on developing launch vehicles, because we know other people are developing launch vehicles, and as soon as those are ready, we can just churn out our satellites by that point now.
Yeah, you kind of just have to. You're you're going to be riding that wave, the launch wave, and therefore benefit off that anyway. And that's looking very, very possible. I wanted to touch on Cisco. They came in as a new investor. I assume a bunch of networking additions. Can you talk to us specifically about bringing Cisco in as an investor? What does that actually mean for you guys practically?
Yeah, for sure. So all of the internal networking will be, I mean, we're obviously assessing many vendors and we're not locked into any one, but we're working with Cisco on all of the internal networking gear. And they, I think they've realized it's going to be an enormous market. And so this is, it's good for them to be able to get a foot into it. It's good for us because we can, we can test all their hardware and have a relationship with them that goes a little bit deeper than just being a customer. It's quite similar in nature to the NVIDIA relationship. Maybe just on the last point, on the launch side of things, the fact that people are starting to now build their own launch vehicles, even though they know it's like 8 to 10 years and $2 billion, kind of implies something about where the launch market is, which is that it's become extremely constrained in the last, even just year, it's become very constrained. Because basically Falcon 9 is, SpaceX is phasing out the Falcon 9 program. So until Starship comes online, it's very constrained right now.
Okay, it's because the demand is so high, but there's no supply because the Falcon 9 is stopping. Interesting.
Yes. Well, we're seeing people forced to like innovate on their own then and just create their own.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay, interesting. What does that mean for you guys? When you heard about the news of the Falcon 9 being kind of like stopped, what did that necessarily... I assume you were in the point of raising at that point. And it was like...
Yeah, well...
like, did conversations change in a way?
It's not... It's quite opaque what's going on inside SpaceX, to be honest. And also we are slightly under NDA on certain things, so I'm not sure how much I can say. But like they haven't announced that they're stopping Falcon 9, but it's very hard to book anything. Yeah, I mean, we're now booking with every other launch vehicle provider as well. So we've got launch booked with Stoke. We've got launch booked with who else? Many that will be revealed soon.
Some
fairly experimental rockets, let's say it that way.
Really cool. We kind of glazed past it a little bit, but something that I would love to ask, and I feel like this has probably got better and quicker over time, is like the speed at which you can work with government entities around this, like their flexibility, like how collaborative they've been, how much they sort of embrace the technology. Because I don't think it was too long ago where I think maybe it was a tweet of yours, but you were making predictions like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I was like, how big of a thing this will be and how like a lot of people will change their narrative around it. And we're obviously already seeing that like probably earlier than you suspected, I'd imagine. How's that been? Like, how's that adjustment been? And how is it also like seeing the idea kind of realized live in front of you?
Yeah, well, so I mean, one of the advantages of being in the US as it relates to the government is a big buyer of these types of services. So particularly providing compute on orbit to other satellites, the government is definitely a big buyer of that kind of service here. The 3 founders of Starcloud are all European, but essentially it would have been very difficult to build this business in Europe because there just isn't funding from the government mainly, and also from VCs obviously, but the VCs will follow where they see customers signal, either government or otherwise. But yeah, no, it's been very wild seeing this idea because I did feel like I was kind of, Shutter Island, the movie where he's like an insane person just telling everybody there's like stuff going on and nobody believes him. Like I felt like that for like 2 years, and everyone was like, yeah, he dates into space. That's cool, man. Yeah.
And now you can turn around and be like, hey, I'm back. What's up? I'm here. What's up now?
If you read the comments under our YC launch, oh my God, we got absolutely pilloried.
Really? But you guys were the fastest YC growing company in history, were you not? Is that?
Yeah, we are now. We went when we launched.
You are now, which is great.
So good.
You just, before we let you go, you said the timeline for having, what was the word for solar panels around the sun?
A Dyson sphere.
Dyson sphere. The timeline for that is shrinking. It was 10,000 years last time you were on the show. Are we looking more,
Where are we at now?
Are we...
It depends what you mean. Like the timeline to blocking out all light from the sun from leaving the solar system, it's probably still in the few thousand year range. The timeline, maybe not 10,000, probably at least a few thousand though. I mean, that is quite an engineering project to build a proper Dyson swarm. The timeline to having the first sun orbit, like AI solar devices, probably is more like 50, maybe even less, maybe 20 years now. And I expect the first ones will be in like the Lagrange points. So the first L1, L2, and then there's like basically near the Earth, there's points which follow the Earth and they're sort of gravitationally locked, and you can put things like the James Webb Telescope is out in the second Lagrange point. So I think once we run out of space in low Earth orbit, And then once we run out of space in medium Earth orbit and cislunar and all the other closer to Earth places, then we'll start going out to these Lagrange points. That really is then definitely the start of a Dyson sphere.
Yeah.
way.
No, definitely. Wow. Okay.
We'll
So
have to have you back on
progress.
then.
Well, next time you come back on, maybe it'll be in a year. Who knows? We'll see. But look, congratulations. Thanks again for coming on. We really appreciate your time. And look, keep crushing it. We're big fans of you and Starcloud, obviously. And we'll see you soon.
Thanks so much. Cheers, guys.
Have a good one.
stuff.
Cheers, dude.
He is the GOAT. Anyway, that is the show. Quickly, Polymarket, the world's largest prediction market. Stay informed and profit from your knowledge. Go to polymarket.com. Thanks so much for tuning in. We will see you soon. Ciao.
Helicopter.